The sages of old taught that the world outside you is but a mirror, reflecting the world within you. They understood a profound truth that we have largely forgotten in our loud, distracted age, a truth that holds the key to the deepest forms of human connection. Have you ever wondered what it is that constitutes a person's presence? Why is it that some people can enter a room, and without saying a word, the very energy of the space shifts? Heads turn, conversation pose. There is a weight, a gravity to them. And yet, others can speak at length, armed with wit and intelligence, and still feel strangely invisible, their words dissolving into the air like mist. The secret does not lie in what is said, or even what is done. It is not a matter of rehearsed lines, or learned charisma, or the right clothes. It is a silent language, spoken not by the tongue, but by the soul. It is the unseen energy you broadcast into the world, every single moment of your existence. This energy, this subtle vibration, is the culmination of your thoughts, your inner state, your deepest beliefs about yourself and your place in the universe. It is this frequency that others respond to, long before they process your words. This journey we are about to embark on, you and I, is not a course in social technique. We will not be constructing a more likable mask to wear. No, this is something far more real and far more powerful. This is an excavation. We are going on a journey inward, a deep dive into the quiet stillness of your own being, to find the source code of your personal energy. We will learn to quiet the inner noise, to dissolve the fears and the limiting beliefs that create a repellent static. We will learn to tune ourselves like a sacred instrument, so that the music we broadcast is one of authenticity, peace, and quiet power. This is not about becoming someone else to be liked. It is about returning to who you have always been, beneath the layers of conditioning. It is about remembering the magnetic, luminous being that is your true nature. And in that remembering, you will find that the world, that great mirror, has no choice but to reflect back the beauty and connection you have finally found within yourself. The journey begins now. Breathe in. Let us descend. Let us begin with the space between words, the silence that holds all sound. We seek to become a magnetic presence in the world, to draw connection towards us as the moon draws the tide. Yet we so often begin this quest in the wrong place. We look outward. We study techniques. We learn what to say, how to stand, when to smile. We try to build a beautiful house on land that is constantly shaking. The foundation of all true magnetism, of all deep and resonant connection, is not built on the outside. It is cultivated in the vast and often chaotic landscape of your inner world. Before you can be a calming presence for others, you must first find the calm within yourself. And to do that, you must first become intimately familiar with your own noise. This noise, you know it well. It is the relentless commentator in your skull, the one that never sleeps. It is the frantic hum of 1,000 anxieties running in the background of your awareness, the constant chatter of judgments, predictions, and memories. It is the voice that replays the awkward thing you said 5 years ago right as you're trying to fall asleep. It is the voice that rehearses a conversation that has not yet happened, creating a dozen catastrophic outcomes before you have even said hello. This is the noise of a mind untethered, a mind lost in the labyrinth of its own creation. To live inside this noise is to live in a state of perpetual, low-grade emergency. Your nervous system is on high alert, your muscles are subtly tensed, your energy is scattered and defensive. You may walk through the world with a calm exterior, but others, on a primal, energetic level, can feel the storm raging within you. They may not know what it is, but they feel a subtle dissonance, a lack of peace in your presence, and they may unconsciously pull away, seeking refuge in calmer waters. You cannot invite someone into a home that is in a state of chaos. You must first quiet the storm. Imagine your mind as a deep, pristine mountain lake. In its natural state, the water is perfectly still, perfectly clear. You can see all the way to the bottom. You can see the ancient stones, the gentle sway of plants, the sunlight filtering down into the depths. This clarity, this stillness, is your true nature. It is peaceful, profound, and endlessly deep. Now, imagine a relentless wind begins to blow across the surface. This is the wind of anxiety, the constant worrying about the future. The surface of the lake becomes choppy, agitated. Then, people from your past and present begin to throw stones into the lake. Each stone is a judgment, a criticism, a harsh word. Some are stones you throw at yourself. They hit the water with a splash and stir up the silt and mud from the bottom. This is the mud of old pain, of past regrets, of feelings of unworthiness. Soon the entire lake is a turbulent, murky mess. The water is brown and opaque, the clarity is gone. The depth is hidden. This murky lake is the mind lost in its own noise. It is impossible for anyone, including yourself, to see the beauty that lies within it. They only see the turbulent surface, the cloudy water. True magnetism is the process of letting the wind die down, letting the stones fall, and allowing the mud and silt to gently, patiently, settle back onto the floor of the lake. It is the return to clarity. So how do we begin? The first instinct is to fight, to tell the noise to be quiet, to suppress the anxious thoughts, to battle the inner critic. But this is like trying to flatten the waves of the lake with an iron. The struggle itself creates more turbulence. The act of fighting is just another layer of violent noise. The path to stillness is not through war, but through gentle, courageous awareness. The first step is simply to notice, without judgment, without trying to change a thing. You become an impartial witness to the chaos in your own mind. You sit on the shore of your own turbulent lake and you simply watch. You watch the narrator, that frantic voice that tries to script your life. You notice how it leaps ahead, planning your next sentence while someone is still speaking to you, pulling you out of the actual moment of connection. You notice how it drags you back, forcing you to relive an embarrassing moment from yesterday, coloring your present interaction with the shadow of past shame. You just notice it. Ah, there is the narrator again, trying to protect me by controlling everything. You watch the judge, the inner critic. You hear its sharp, familiar tone. You're not smart enough for this conversation. They think you're boring. You failed again. Instead of believing it, instead of collapsing under its weight, you simply label it. Ah, there is the judge. I see you. I hear you. You are a part of me, a part born of fear, but you are not the entirety of me. You are not the truth of me. This practice of detached observation is revolutionary. It is the gap. It is the moment of sacred space you create between yourself, the silent witness, and the noise of your mind. In this space, you find freedom. You realize, perhaps for the first time, that you are not the noise. You are the one who hears the noise. You are not the turbulent water. You are the vast, silent basin of the lake that holds the water. This realization alone begins to calm the storm. The noise loses its power when it is no longer mistaken for you. It becomes like a television playing in an empty room. The sounds are still there, but no one is invested in the drama. Now we introduce the anchor. While you are witnessing the noise, you need a place to rest your attention, a place that is always in the present moment. That anchor is your breath. The breath is the most honest, reliable thing you possess. It does not live in the past or the future. It is always, only, now. The mind can create a million fantasies, but the breath can only be felt in this precise, physical moment. Let us try this now, together. Wherever you are, bring your awareness to the sensation of your own breathing. You don't need to change it, or deepen it, or force it. Just feel it. Feel the cool air entering your nostrils. Follow its path down your throat, into your lungs. Feel the gentle expansion of your chest, your ribs, your belly, and then feel the release, the surrender, as the warmer air exits your body. Stay with that entire cycle, from the very beginning of the in-breath to the very end of the out-breath. Your mind will wander. This is what minds do. The narrator will start a story. The judge will make a comment. The moment you realize you have wandered, that is a moment of victory. That is a moment of awakening. And in that moment, you don't scold yourself. You simply, gently, and with infinite kindness, guide your attention back to the anchor, back to the feeling of the breath. Again and again and again. Each time you return to the breath, you are performing a sacred act. You are choosing the present over the past. You are choosing reality over illusion. You are choosing peace over noise. Each return is like allowing a single particle of mud to settle to the bottom of the lake. It may not seem like much, but with patient practice, particle by particle, the water begins to clear. This is the foundational practice. It is the beginning of all else. Before you can radiate presence, you must be able to find it within yourself. Before you can hold a space for another, you must be able to hold a space for your own frantic mind. Do this in small moments throughout your day. Waiting in a line, sitting at a red light. Before you enter a room, take 3 conscious breaths. Anchor yourself in the present. It is a reset button for your nervous system. It is a declaration to the universe that in this moment, you choose stillness. As you continue this practice, the lake of your mind will not remain permanently still. Life will continue to happen. Winds will blow, stones will be thrown. But your relationship with the turbulence will have changed forever. You will no longer be lost in it. You will be the calm, witnessing presence on the shore, anchored by your breath, watching the waves rise and fall without being swept away by them. This is the beginning of unshakable inner peace. This is the seed of true social magnetism. It is a quiet power, a solidness that other people can feel. It is the silent invitation that says, "The storm is quiet within me. It is safe for you to be here." And as the waters of your mind begin to clear, something remarkable happens. You start to see. You start to notice the very first thing that disturbs the stillness. You see the subtle impact of a single falling leaf, a single thought, as it lands on the surface and sends out its delicate ripples. It is here, in this newfound clarity, that we can truly begin to understand the creative power, the silent echo of our thoughts. From the profound stillness we have begun to cultivate, a new sensitivity emerges. The surface of the inner lake is now calm enough for you to notice the smallest disturbances. You can now perceive the delicate yet powerful impact of a single thought landing upon the waters of your consciousness, sending ripples outward into the world. We are taught to believe that our thoughts are private, weightless, inconsequential things locked away in the fortress of our skulls. This is perhaps the most profound misunderstanding of our time. Your thoughts are not passive observers of your reality. They are the architects of it. Every single thought you choose to entertain is a vibration, a pulse of energy, a prayer sent out to the universe. And the universe, in its infinite and impartial wisdom, always answers. The world does not give you what you want, it gives you what you are. And what you are is the sum total of the thoughts you have embodied. Imagine your mind as a vast, fertile garden. This ground is a gift. It can grow anything, without judgment. It will nourish the seed of a nightshade just as readily as the seed of a rose. The seeds are your thoughts. Each time you think, "I am not interesting," you plant a seed of a thorny, colorless weed. Each time you think, "I am grateful for this moment," you plant the seed of a vibrant, fragrant flower. Now, your attention, your focus, is the water and sunlight of this garden. The thoughts you dwell on, the ones you replay and feed with your emotional energy, are the ones you are watering. The thoughts you simply notice and let pass are the ones you allow to wither in the soil. Many of us have spent a lifetime unconsciously watering a garden of weeds. We have cultivated dense patches of self-doubt, thickets of social anxiety, and deep-rooted trees of unworthiness. Then we stand in the middle of this overgrown, chaotic garden, and we wonder why no one wants to come in for a visit. We wonder why the bees and butterflies of connection seem to pass us by. They are not rejecting you. They are simply responding to the energy of the garden you have grown. A garden that feels unsafe, neglected, or full of thorns does not invite closeness. Let us be very clear about how this process works. This is not magic. It is energetic physics. A thought like, "I'm not good enough," is not just a collection of words. It carries a specific, measurable, energetic frequency. It is a vibration of contraction, of fear, of shame. When you hold this thought, your entire being responds to it. Your shoulders subtly curve inward to protect your heart. Your breath becomes shallow, starved of life. Your jaw tightens. Your gaze falls to the ground. You are, in every non-verbal way, broadcasting a signal of closure and defense. You have become a walking, talking embodiment of the thought, "I am not worthy of connection." Now, you walk into a social setting carrying this vibration. Your mind, tuned to this frequency, immediately begins to scan the environment for evidence to prove your belief is true. This is called the filter of perception. You don't see the room as it is, you see the room as you are. A neutral expression on someone's face is interpreted as disapproval. A group of people laughing across the room becomes proof that they are laughing at you. A momentary lull in conversation confirms that you are boring. You are actively collecting data to validate your inner state, ignoring all evidence to the contrary, the brief, kind smile from a stranger, the open body language of someone nearby. You are trapped in a self-fulfilling prophecy. Because you believe you will be rejected, you broadcast the energy of rejection. Others pick up on this energy, the tense shoulders, the averted eyes, the hesitant voice, and they respond to the signal you are sending. They may feel a bit awkward, unsure how to approach this closed-off energy, and so they keep a respectful distance. And your inner narrator screams, "See, I told you, nobody likes me." The loop closes. The prophecy is fulfilled. The weed of "I am not liked" has been watered once again, and its roots grow deeper. Breaking this cycle requires the courage to become a conscious gardener of your mind. It begins not with force, but with mindfulness. The first step is to simply walk through your inner garden and observe what is currently growing there. You do this without judgment, as a botanist studying a landscape. You walk past the thorny bush of self-criticism and you label it. "Ah, this is the one that tells me I am a failure. I see it." You notice the creeping vine of jealousy and you nod. There you are again, the one that compares my journey to everyone else's. You are not ripping them out. You are not shaming yourself for having them. You are simply taking inventory. By seeing them clearly, you begin to separate yourself from them. You are the gardener, not the weeds. This awareness is the first sunlight breaking through the clouds. The second step is to stop watering them. When you catch yourself in a loop of negative self-talk, a spiral of anxious what-ifs, the practice is to recognize it and gently withdraw your attention. You can say to yourself, "I see I am watering the I am awkward weed right now." This simple act of naming it creates a pause. In that pause, you have a choice. You can return your attention to the anchor of your breath, as we practiced, or you can choose to plant a new seed. Now, planting new seeds must be done with great wisdom. If your garden is overrun with weeds of self-hatred, you cannot simply throw down a seed for "I am the most confident and loved person alive" and expect it to grow. The soil is not ready. The fake positivity feels like a lie, and your system will reject it. This only creates more inner conflict. Instead, you must start with gentle, believable seeds. Seeds of neutrality and acceptance. If the dominant weed is, "Everyone thinks I'm an idiot," a new, believable seed might be, "I have thoughts and ideas of value," or "I am capable of learning and growing." If the weed is, "I will be rejected," a new seed could be, "I am open to the possibility of a pleasant interaction," or "I can handle whatever happens." "I will be okay." These are seeds of compassion. They are gentle. They feel true. They are seeds of kindness you plant in the wounded soil of your own mind. Once you have chosen these new seeds, you must water them consciously. You water them by repeating them to yourself in quiet moments. You water them by actively looking for small pieces of evidence in your day that support them. If your seed is, "I am open to connection," you celebrate the small moment a barista smiled at you. You have found a drop of rain for your new flower. You are teaching your brain, your reticular activating system, to start filtering for evidence of this new reality, rather than the old, negative one. This is the echo of your thoughts in action. The universe is a great, resonating chamber. It does not have a preference for your thoughts. It is impartial. It simply receives the frequency you broadcast and echoes it back to you in the form of life experiences. When you consistently broadcast the frequency of fear and lack, the universe faithfully echoes back experiences that will validate that fear. When you begin, with patience and diligence, to broadcast a frequency of self-acceptance, openness, and quiet worth, the universe must, by its very nature, begin to echo back people and circumstances that resonate with that new signal. You stop chasing connection and you start attracting it, because you have become a vibrational match for it. You have become the beautiful, tended garden that naturally invites visitors. The work is not to convince others of your worth. The work is to convince yourself, and then to allow the world to simply reflect your newfound conviction. This inner work, this tending of the mental garden, is profound. But these thoughts, these energetic seeds, require fertile soil to truly take root and manifest. That soil is your physical form. To truly anchor these new beliefs and broadcast them with power, we must learn to inhabit our most immediate reality, our closest connection to the earth and to the present moment. We must learn to listen to the wisdom held within the body as an anchor. We have tended to the garden of the mind, learning to observe our thoughts and plant new seeds of acceptance. But thoughts, no matter how beautiful, remain ethereal until they are given a home. They are like architectural blueprints for a house that has not yet been built. The soil, the foundation, the very substance that allows these new ways of being to take form and have weight in the world, is your physical body. For too long, we have treated the body as an inconvenient vehicle for the mind, a machine to be fed, disciplined, and criticized. We have seen it as a source of shame, an object of comparison, an enemy in our quest for perfection. The journey to true magnetism requires a radical shift in this relationship. We must end the long exile from our own flesh and blood. We must come home to the body, not as a master or a slave, but as a student listening to a wise and ancient teacher. In our modern world, we have become masters of disassociation. We live in our heads, our consciousness hovering somewhere behind our eyes, looking out at the world as if through a periscope. This is a survival strategy we learned long ago. When we felt unsafe, judged, or overwhelmed as children, we learned to retreat from the uncomfortable sensations in the body, the tight knot in the stomach of fear, the hot flush of shame in the face, the trembling in the hands, and escape into the abstract world of thought. We left our bodies behind. We became ghosts in our own machines. This disembodiment is the hidden root of so much social anxiety. When you are not fully inhabiting your physical form, you feel ungrounded, weightless, untethered. You lack a felt sense of your own space, your own right to be here. You are a flickering candle flame, easily disturbed by the slightest breeze of social interaction. Others sense this. They feel your lack of gravity. They perceive a not quite here-ness that makes deep connection feel impossible. It is difficult to connect with a ghost. To reclaim your magnetic presence, you must first reclaim your physical presence. You must learn to inhabit yourself fully. Imagine you are a magnificent, ancient tree. Your spirit, your consciousness, is the trunk, the branches, the leaves reaching for the sun. But the source of your strength, your stability, your ability to withstand the storms of life, lies in your roots. Your body, is your root system. A tree with shallow roots is toppled by the first strong wind. A tree with a deep, intricate root system, one that grips the earth with tenacity and trust, can endure hurricanes. The winds will come. The judgments of others, the awkward silences, the moments of uncertainty, these are the storms. If you are not rooted in your body, these winds will send you spiraling into the chaos of your mind, knocked completely off your center. But when you are deeply rooted, you can feel the wind, you can allow your branches to sway with it, but your core remains unshakable. You remain centered. This rootedness is a palpable force. It is a quiet, powerful declaration to the world that says, I am here. I am solid. I belong to this earth. My presence is not negotiable. So let us begin the journey home. This is not another task to achieve. It is a gentle act of remembering. I invite you now, if it feels safe for you to do so, to close your eyes. Or if you prefer, simply soften your gaze and let it rest, unfocused, on a point before you. Let us begin not with the body itself, but with its relationship to the world. Feel the points of contact. Feel the weight of your body being held by the chair or the floor beneath you. Surrender your weight to it. Let go of the tension of trying to hold yourself up, and allow yourself to be held. Feel the gentle, persistent pull of gravity, that universal force that connects you to the very center of the planet. This is your first root. You belong here. Gravity itself is holding you. Now, bring your awareness, like a soft, warm light, to the soles of your feet. You don't need to move them or change anything. Just feel them. Notice any sensations that are present. Is there warmth, a tingling, the pressure of the floor, the texture of your socks? Imagine tiny, energetic roots extending from the soles of your feet, down through the floor, down deep into the rich, dark soil of the earth. Feel that connection. Feel the steady, solid energy of the earth rising up to meet you. Let this warm light of awareness travel slowly up your body. Feel the strength in your ankles and your calves. Feel the solid bones of your legs, the pillars that support you. Let the awareness move into your pelvic area, your center of gravity. This is a place of immense power and creativity. Simply let your awareness rest here, breathing into this space, feeling its stability and its potential. Now, bring your attention to your abdomen. Notice its gentle rise and fall with each breath. Let your belly be soft. For so many of us, this is a place where we hold tension, sucking it in out of shame or fear. For this moment, just let it be. Let it be soft. Let it be alive with the rhythm of your breath. This softness is a sign of safety. Travel upward into your chest. Can you feel the faint, steady rhythm of your own heart beating? This is not the frantic beat of anxiety. This is the deep, ancient drum of your life force. It has been beating for you every moment of every day of your life. Place a hand over your heart if you wish, and simply feel that loyal, steady rhythm. It is the sound of your own aliveness. Let the awareness flow into your hands. Feel the energy that is present there. Is there warmth, tingling, pulsing? These are the hands with which you create and soothe and connect. For now, just let them rest, full of life. Allow your awareness to move up through your arms and into your shoulders. This is a common warehouse for stress. We carry the weight of the world on our shoulders. As you breathe in, imagine you are breathing space and light directly into your shoulder joints. As you breathe out, imagine the tension melting away, flowing down your arms and out through your fingertips. Finally, bring your awareness to your neck, your jaw, and your face. Gently unclench your jaw. Let your tongue rest softly in your mouth. Soften the tiny muscles around your eyes. Smooth out the space between your eyebrows. Let your entire face be at ease. Take a moment now to feel your entire body, all at once. From the soles of your feet to the crown of your head. Feel yourself as a single, unified field of sensation, breathing and alive. This is your home. This is your anchor. This is you. The purpose of this practice is not to feel any particular way. It is simply to feel, to be present with whatever is here: warmth, tension, numbness, pleasure, without needing to fix it or judge it. The simple act of bringing your gentle, non-judgmental awareness to a part of your body is a profound act of love. It says, "I am here with you. I am listening." When you begin to integrate this practice into your life, your body transforms from an object into an ally. It becomes a wise counselor. A knot in your stomach is no longer just anxiety. It is your body communicating vital information. It might be saying, "This situation is not aligned with my truth," or "A boundary needs to be set here." When you are embodied, your presence communicates with an eloquence that words cannot touch. Your posture naturally aligns. Your movements become more intentional, less frantic. Your voice finds a deeper resonance because it is coming from a body that is fully inhabited. You become a calming presence for others because you are, at last, at peace in your own skin. As you stand in this newfound solidity, feeling the earth beneath you and the life within you, a deeper layer of the self may begin to surface. With the noise of the mind quieted and the vessel of the body inhabited, you are finally present enough to hear the oldest, most vulnerable question the soul can ask. It is a question that often rises as a quiet tremor from the depths once we finally stop running. Now that I am truly here, in this body, visible and present, am I worthy of this space? Am I worthy of being seen? To answer this, we must venture into the very heart of our conditioning and dismantle the great, pervasive, and painful fallacy of worthiness. We have come home to the body, our sacred anchor in the present moment. And here, in this grounded stillness, we finally have the quiet courage to face the ghost that haunts every room we enter, every conversation we have. It is the whisper that undermines our strength, the question that poisons our joy. Am I enough? Am I worthy? This question is the source of all striving, all performance, all social fear. We believe worthiness is a destination we must struggle to reach, a prize to be won after a lifetime of effort. We believe there is a cosmic checklist of achievements, virtues, and approvals that, once completed, will finally grant us the right to feel good about ourselves. This entire belief system, this transactional view of the soul, is the greatest fallacy ever perpetrated upon the human heart. You are not here to earn your worth. You are here to embody the worthiness that is your birthright. From our first moments, we are taught the worthiness equation. As a child, you learn that good behavior, getting the right answer, being quiet and compliant, earns you a smile, a word of praise, a token of affection. Uncooperative behavior, mistakes, or emotional outbursts lead to the withdrawal of that affection. The lesson is simple and brutal. Love and worth are conditional. They are rewards for a successful performance. This conditioning is then reinforced at every turn. In school, you are graded, ranked, and relentlessly compared to your peers. Your value is reduced to a letter, a number, a position in the class. Society then takes over, bombarding you with a relentless torrent of media that defines worthiness through external markers. The perfect body, the luxurious lifestyle, the powerful career, the flawless family. The message is hammered into our subconscious. You are not enough as you are. You will be worthy when you lose the weight, when you get the promotion, when you find a partner, when you have more followers. It is a vast, exhausting, unwinnable game, a hamster wheel for the soul. The moment you grasp one prize, the goalpost shifts, and you are left still feeling empty, still striving, still convinced that true worthiness lies just around the next corner. This relentless pursuit creates what we might call the performance self. It is the part of you that is constantly calculating, strategizing, and editing your behavior to maximize your chances of receiving external validation. It is a state of profound insecurity, and it is utterly exhausting. We must now dismantle this illusion with a truth so simple and so radical that the conditioned mind will struggle to accept it. Your intrinsic worth is the sun. Imagine it. A vast, blazing, thermonuclear sphere of light and heat. Its very nature is to radiate. It does not need to perform acts of shining to be considered a sun. It does not wake up in the morning and worry if it is bright enough. It does not look at other stars and feel inadequate. Its shining is not a performance. It is a simple, effortless, constant expression of its own being. Its existence and its radiance are one and the same. This is the nature of your true self, your soul. Your worth is not tied to your actions, your thoughts, your successes, or your failures. It is inherent in the fact of your existence. The feelings of unworthiness, the voice of the inner critic, the crushing weight of societal expectations. These are not you. They are clouds. On a dark, overcast day, you cannot see the sun. You might feel its absence. You might even momentarily believe it has vanished forever. But high above that impenetrable layer of gray, the sun has not changed. It has not dimmed. It is still blazing with the same magnificent, unwavering power. It is simply obscured. Your spiritual work, your path to magnetism, is not about trying to build a sun. You are already the sun. The work is to understand the nature of the clouds. It is to stop identifying with them, to stop believing that you are the cloudiness. It is the process of allowing the clouds of fear, doubt, and conditioning to gently drift and dissipate, revealing the brilliant, constant light that was always, already there. When you operate from the illusion that you must earn your worth, you broadcast a specific, palpable energy into the world. It is the energy of the performance self. It is a needy, anxious, contractive energy. When you enter a room trying to prove you are smart, or funny, or interesting, you are non-verbally begging for validation. Your energy is subtly asking everyone you meet, "Am I good enough yet? Do you approve of me? Please, tell me I'm okay." People feel this. They may not be able to articulate it, but they feel the subtle pressure of being cast in the role of your judge. It is a draining and uncomfortable role to be placed in, and the natural human response is to pull away, to create distance from this energetic demand. This is why trying too hard is repellent. It is the scent of deep insecurity. Now, imagine the energy of a person who rests in their inherent worth. They have understood that they are the sun. They are not asking for anything from anyone. Their cup of self-acceptance is already full. They enter a room not to get validation, but perhaps to share warmth. Their presence is calm, open, and solid. They are not performing. They are simply being. This is the energy that is profoundly magnetic. It feels safe. It feels generous. It feels free. We are drawn to the sun not because it begs for our attention, but because it offers its light so freely, without condition, without asking for anything in return. To become socially magnetic, you must stop being a supplicant asking for light and start embodying the sun that you are. How do we do this? How do we break a lifetime of conditioning? The answer lies not in doing more, but in doing less. It is an act of profound release. Imagine you are in a desperate tug-of-war. You are on one side, and on the other is the immense weight of the need to prove myself. Your muscles are burning, your hands are raw, you are exhausted from the constant strain. You believe you must win, that you must pull the weight over to your side, but you never can. The need to prove myself is infinitely heavy. The way to win this impossible game is not to pull harder. The only winning move is to drop the rope. In this moment, you can drop the rope. You can make a conscious choice to withdraw from the struggle. You can release the lifelong, exhausting project of trying to prove your worth to the world. It is a project you never needed to start. You can give yourself the permission you have been desperately seeking from others. Permission to be imperfect. Permission to be awkward at times. Permission to not have all the answers. Permission to simply be a human being, in process. Let this be a mantra that sinks deep into your being. I release the need to prove my worth. Say it silently to yourself. Feel the meaning behind the words. It is not an aggressive affirmation. It is a gentle surrender. It is the laying down of a terrible burden. My being is my worth. Feel the quiet simplicity of that. Your breath, your heartbeat, your consciousness. This is the signature of your value. It needs no external cosigner. When you truly begin to absorb this truth, not just as an idea but as a felt reality in your cells, something profound shifts. A vast space of peace and lightness opens up within you. You stop leaking your precious life force by constantly seeking it from outside sources. You plug the drain. And in this newfound state of self-contained energy, you become acutely aware of the silent field you broadcast. You are no longer transmitting the dense, needy frequency of "Am I enough?" You are beginning to radiate the clear, open, and warm frequency of "I am." You start to feel the subtle but powerful, energetic signature that surrounds you, an aura that communicates your inner state to the world long before you speak. It is time now to consciously explore this unseen energy you broadcast. Having laid down the great burden of proving your worth, you begin to occupy your life in a new way. You are no longer a frantic applicant, auditioning for the role of yourself. You are the director, the stage, and the star of the show. This shift from seeking approval to resting in your own being creates a profound change in your energetic composition. It is here that we move from the psychology of self to the physics of soul. We must now speak of the unseen energy you are constantly broadcasting, the silent, powerful field that is your first and most honest introduction to the world. Think of yourself as a powerful, living broadcasting tower. Your heart is the core generator, producing a potent electrical field with every beat. Your mind and your emotional state are the control room, determining the quality and frequency of the signal. Your entire body, down to the last cell, is the antenna, radiating this signal outward into the space around you. You cannot turn this broadcast off. To be alive is to be broadcasting. You are transmitting a signal every moment of every day, whether you are aware of it or not. The only choice you have is in the nature of the frequency you send out. What are these frequencies? They are your embodied emotions, your dominant inner states. Fear, for instance, has a frequency. It is jagged, erratic, and contractive. It feels like static, a dissonant hum that puts others on edge. Peace has a frequency. It is slow, coherent, deep, and resonant. It feels like a steady, low hum, a sine wave that calms the nervous systems of those around you. Joy has a frequency. It is high, light, and effervescent, a vibration that lifts and inspires. You have felt this countless times. You walk into a room where a bitter argument has just occurred, and even if the space is silent, you can feel the residue. The air feels thick, heavy, sharp. You are feeling the lingering frequency of anger and conflict. Conversely, you have been in the presence of someone who is genuinely, deeply content, and their very presence feels like a balm. You feel yourself relax, your breath deepen, simply by being in their field. You are not imagining it. Your receiver is picking up their clear, coherent broadcast. This is not mystical conjecture. Science has begun to map this phenomenon. Instruments can measure the electromagnetic field generated by the human heart, and it is found to be thousands of times more powerful than the field generated by the brain. This cardiac field can be detected several feet away from the body, a measurable aura of energy that changes its informational quality based on our emotional state. When we feel emotions like gratitude, compassion, and love, this field becomes highly coherent and orderly. When we feel stress, anger, and anxiety, the field becomes chaotic and incoherent. The people around you are unconsciously reading this field, this energetic signature, at all times. Their nervous system is in a constant, silent dialogue with your nervous system. This is the basis of intuition, of gut feelings, of what we call vibes. It is the first language, the universal mother tongue that is spoken and understood before a single word is ever exchanged. Your broadcast is your true message. Your words are often just the commentary. When your inner state is one of insecurity and fear, you are broadcasting this chaotic frequency. Others pick it up and feel a subtle sense of unease. They may not know why, but they feel that something is off. They feel your lack of inner peace, and it triggers their own instinct for self-preservation. It is not a personal rejection, it is an energetic one. They are simply moving away from a dissonant frequency that feels draining to their own system. When you cultivate inner peace and self-acceptance, you broadcast a coherent, harmonious frequency. This signal communicates safety, stability, and authenticity. It is energetically nourishing to be around. People are drawn into your field not because of anything you do or say, but because your very presence feels like coming home. It is a sanctuary from the static of the world. The key to becoming a magnetic presence, then, is to become a conscious operator of your own broadcasting tower. And this begins with a simple radical practice: the energetic check-in. It is the act of pausing several times throughout your day and asking yourself one simple question: what am I broadcasting right now? To do this, you must stop thinking and start feeling. Close your eyes for just a moment. Drop your awareness out of your head and into the core of your body, your chest, your stomach, your solar plexus, and feel. Without putting a name to it at first, just sense the quality of the energy that is living inside you in this moment. Does it feel expansive or constricted? Does it feel warm or cool? Does it feel like a clenched fist or an open palm? Is it turbulent like a stormy sea or calm like a still pond? Does it feel heavy, like a lead weight, or light, like a helium balloon? Be a curious scientist of your own inner world. Once you have a felt sense of it, then perhaps you can give it a name. Ah, this tightness in my chest, this rapid, shallow energy, this is anxiety. This heavy, slow, sinking feeling in my stomach, this is sadness. This open, warm, flowing sensation, this is contentment. This buzzing, smiling energy behind my heart, this is joy. The goal is not to judge what you find. There is no bad energy. There is only information. The act of checking in is not to immediately try and fix or change the broadcast. The primary goal is simply to become aware of it. Awareness is the first and most crucial step. You cannot consciously change a broadcast you do not know you are sending. As you practice this, you will begin to notice the direct link between your thoughts, your feelings, and the energy you broadcast. You will notice how a single critical thought about yourself can instantly change your frequency from open to closed. You will notice how a moment of genuine gratitude can transform a dense, heavy energy into one of lightness and warmth. This awareness is foundational because your broadcast does not just communicate, it attracts. This is the law of resonance. Like attracts like. A tuning fork vibrating at a certain pitch will cause another tuning fork of the same pitch to vibrate, even at a distance. Your energetic broadcast works in the same way. When you consistently broadcast a frequency of complaint, frustration, and victimhood, you will find yourself magically attracting people and circumstances that give you more to complain about. The universe, in its impartiality, simply provides you with more experiences that match the signal you are sending out. If you are broadcasting a frequency of deep-seated peace and authentic self-acceptance, you will begin to notice that calm people, flowing conversations, and synchronous opportunities begin to appear in your life, seemingly out of nowhere. You are not chasing them, you are attracting them by becoming a vibrational match to the reality you desire. This power to consciously manage our broadcast is the secret to authentic magnetism. But if it were as simple as flicking a switch, we would all be masters of it. Often, our signal is distorted, muffled by heavy layers of noise and static that we have accumulated over a lifetime. The most significant source of this interference is the character we have been conditioned to play, the carefully constructed persona we present to the world for our own protection. To clear our broadcast and let our true signal shine through, we must first have the courage to examine and ultimately dissolve the social mask. The energy you broadcast is the silent truth of who you are. But for many of us, that signal is not clear. It is distorted, filled with static and interference, like a beautiful piece of music played through a broken radio. We have identified the source of this static. It is the most sophisticated, draining, and pervasive piece of software ever installed in the human psyche. It is the social mask. It is the carefully constructed persona, the public relations officer of the self, the character you play in the grand theater of society. And the path to clearing your broadcast, to letting your authentic, magnetic frequency shine through, is the gentle, courageous process of allowing this mask to dissolve. Let us be clear what this mask is. It is not a single, simple thing. It is a complex and layered system of behaviors, beliefs, attitudes, and defenses. It is the nice one who never disagrees, even when their heart is screaming in protest. It is the strong one who never asks for help, even when they are buckling under the weight of their burdens. It is the funny one who uses humor as a shield to keep anyone from getting too close to their sadness. It is the intellectual one who uses knowledge to create a fortress around their vulnerability. It is any role you have learned to play that is not a spontaneous, honest expression of the being that exists beneath. To understand the mask's tragic flaw, let us return to the metaphor of the garden. Imagine a perfect plastic flower. From a distance, it is flawless. Its color never fades. Its petals are never bruised. It stands in perpetual, unblemished bloom. It requires no water, no sunlight, no care. It is entirely self-sufficient, invulnerable to the changing seasons. This is the social mask. It is an attempt at a perfect, invulnerable self. It demands nothing, and it risks nothing, but come closer, touch it. It feels cold, hard, lifeless. Smell it. There is no fragrance. Observe it over time. It does not grow. It does not change. It does not dance in the breeze. It offers no nectar to the bee, no shelter to the butterfly. It is a monument to perfection, but it is dead. Now, picture a real flower. Its petals may have a small tear. Its color might be slightly faded from the afternoon sun. It is fragile, dependent on water and light. It will wilt. It will die. It is imperfect, vulnerable, and ephemeral. But come closer. Touch its soft, yielding petals. Smell its intoxicating, living fragrance. Watch as it draws life to it, the bees, the butterflies, the hummingbird. It is its very imperfection, its vulnerability, its living, breathing authenticity that makes it magnetic. It is alive. The mask is the plastic flower. Your soul is the real one. For years, we have been told to be the plastic flower, and we have wondered why we feel so lifeless and alone. To dissolve this mask, we must first understand, with great compassion, why we forged it in the first place. The mask is not your enemy. It was your protector. It was a brilliant strategy for survival, created by a younger, more vulnerable part of you. Its roots go down into the deepest, most primal soil of the human experience, the fear of rejection. As social creatures, our ancestors' survival depended entirely on remaining part of the tribe. To be ostracized, to be cast out from the group, was a literal death sentence. This ancient, terrifying fear of banishment is encoded in our nervous systems. The fear of not belonging is the fear of annihilation. And so, the young child, utterly dependent on the caregivers of their tribe, becomes a masterful detective. They learn, with astonishing speed, which parts of their authentic self are acceptable and which will lead to the withdrawal of love, the most terrifying form of rejection. If, as a child, your spontaneous bursts of anger were met with punishment or cold disapproval, you learned that anger was bad and threatened your connection. And so, you began to forge the mask of the easygoing, peaceful one. You buried your anger so deep you may have forgotten it even exists, but it is there, a dissonant hum beneath the surface of your broadcast. If your sensitivity and tears were met with ridicule, with phrases like "stop being a crybaby," you learned that vulnerability was weakness. So you forged the mask of the tough, resilient one, a stoic persona that never cracks, while your inner world floods with unshed tears. If your quiet, inward nature was seen as strange or antisocial, you may have forged the mask of the bubbly extrovert, forcing a social energy that depletes and exhausts you. We all did this. We created a version of ourselves that we believed was more lovable, more acceptable, safer. This initial blueprint is then taken into the wider world of schoolyards and workplaces, where it is refined and complicated. We add new masks to fit in with new groups, to avoid the cruelty of others, to gain status, to attract partners. We become a walking collection of masks, a chameleon changing its colors so rapidly we lose touch with our own true shade. The tragedy is that this survival strategy comes at an immense energetic cost. The act of constantly performing, of monitoring your every word and action, of calculating the response of others, of suppressing your spontaneous impulses, is the single most draining activity you can engage in. It is a constant, low-grade inner warfare. There is the you who feels one way, and the mask that must act another way, and the gap between these two is a chasm that consumes your life force. It is a primary driver of social anxiety, of burnout, of the feeling of being a fraud in your own life. You feel exhausted after social interactions, not because you are an introvert necessarily, but because you have been acting in a 3-hour play and your performance required every ounce of your energy. The mask, forged to create connection, becomes the very thing that prevents it. It is a prison of loneliness. You might win admiration for your mask. People might praise your strength, your humor, your intelligence. But all that praise lands on the cold, plastic surface of the persona. The real you, hidden deep inside, receives none of it. The real you remains unseen, unknown, and untouched. This is the source of the profound loneliness you can feel even in a room full of people who love you. They love your representative, not you. Furthermore, by broadcasting the frequency of the mask, you attract people who are a vibrational match for that mask. If you wear the wild party mask, you will attract others who resonate with that energy. But if your soul is that of a quiet poet, you will find these connections to be hollow and unsatisfying. You will have successfully attracted a tribe, but it is the wrong tribe. You will be surrounded by people, yet feel more alone than ever, because you are living a life that does not fit your soul. On a purely energetic level, inauthenticity is repellent. Your nervous system knows when you are not being congruent. It knows when your words say yes, but your body is screaming no. This incongruence creates a chaotic, dissonant frequency. Others may not be able to pinpoint it, but their subconscious receivers pick up the static. They sense a subtle untrustworthiness, not because you are a bad person, but because your energy field is not honest. It makes them hesitant. It makes them keep their own masks on. A mask speaks to a mask, but a soul can only ever truly connect with another soul. So how do we begin this process of dissolving the mask? I must say this with great emphasis. You do not rip it off. The mask is your protector. To tear it off violently would be a shocking act of self-aggression, leaving you feeling raw, terrified, and exposed. This is not a demolition. It is a gentle, compassionate melting. We do not destroy the protector. We simply make it feel safe enough to retire. We do this by slowly, gently, reintroducing the world to our true self in small, manageable doses. This is the practice of micro-authenticity. It begins, as all true change does, with awareness. For 1 week, your only task is to become a detective of your own masks. Without judgment, simply notice when you put one on. In a meeting with your boss, you might notice the agreeable, eager-to-please mask appears. With a certain group of friends, the witty, cynical mask might take over. With your family, another mask entirely. Just notice. Label it. Ah, there it is. The strong one. Do not try to change it. Just the act of seeing it begins to separate you from it. You are the one who sees the mask. Therefore, you are not the mask. Once you are familiar with your collection, you can begin the active part of the practice. Start with the lowest possible stakes. It could be as simple as voicing a true preference. When a friend asks where you want to go for dinner, instead of the automatic, mask-like response of, "Oh, I don't mind, whatever you want," take a breath, check in with yourself. What do you actually want? And then voice it, gently. "You know, I'm actually in the mood for Thai food tonight. How does that sound to you?" This is a revolutionary act. You are honoring your own inner reality. You are saying, "I exist. My preferences matter." From there, you can graduate to sharing a mild, real emotion. With a trusted friend or partner, when they ask, "How are you?" try to bypass the default. "I'm fine, you." Take a moment. How are you, really? Perhaps the answer is, "I'm actually feeling a bit tired today," or "I'm feeling really peaceful this morning," or "I'm a little stressed about a project at work." It doesn't need to be a deep, dark confession. It just needs to be true. You are building the muscle of emotional honesty, strengthening the bridge between your inner world and your outer expression. The next level is the practice of the authentic, compassionate no. The mask, especially the nice mask, is terrified of saying no. It believes no equals rejection. But a true no that comes from a place of honoring your own capacity is an act of self-respect, and others feel that. Start small. When asked to do something you genuinely do not have the time or energy for, instead of saying yes and seething with resentment, try a gentle no. "Thank you so much for thinking of me, but I'm afraid I don't have the capacity for that right now." Notice, you are not rejecting the person. You are honoring the truth of your own energy. A person who respects you will respect your no. A person who doesn't is revealing more about them than about you. Perhaps the most liberating practice is giving yourself permission to be imperfect in conversation. Release yourself from the obligation to have a clever, witty, or insightful response for everything. Allow yourself to have an awkward pause. Allow yourself to say the terrifyingly honest words, "I don't know," or "I need a moment to think about that," or, "You know, I've never thought about it that way before." This is so profoundly real. It is an act of intellectual humility and presence that is far more magnetic than any feigned expertise. Find a safe space to practice. This could be with a therapist, a trusted partner, a sibling, or even in a journal. A journal is a perfect training ground where you can be utterly, completely unmasked without any fear of consequence. Write down the things you wish you could say. Explore the feelings the mask suppresses. The more you befriend your authentic self in private, the more confidence you will have to let it be seen in public. As you engage in these small, consistent acts of authenticity, the mask will begin to feel redundant. The energy you once used to maintain it becomes available to you. It is a great liberation of your life force. You feel lighter, more present, more alive. You begin to broadcast a clearer, more coherent signal of who you truly are. This is the magnetism of the real. It may not be as flashy as the perfect plastic flower, but it has something infinitely more precious. It has life, it has fragrance, it has soul. And as the mask dissolves, you allow the world to see not just your light, but also the beautiful, intricate patterns of your healed wounds. You learn that your scars are not signs of weakness to be hidden, but testaments to your resilience and your journey. It is here, in this courageous act of showing your history, that we discover the deep and unexpected magnetism of scars. As the layers of the social mask begin to melt away, a new landscape is revealed. It is the landscape of your true self, with all its contours, its light, and its shadows. And with this new nakedness comes a familiar fear. The fear is that if people see the real you, they will see where you have been broken. They will see the fault lines, the patched-over cracks, the history of your wounds. We have been taught to see these parts of ourselves as shameful defects, as evidence of our damage, to be hidden away at all costs under the smooth, flawless veneer of the mask. But here, on this journey inward, we must come to a radical and liberating understanding. Your scars are not your shame. They are the source of your deepest beauty and your most profound magnetism. In Japan, there is an ancient art form called kintsugi, which means to join with gold. When a cherished piece of pottery, a bowl, a cup, a vase is broken, it is not thrown away. Instead, the artist meticulously gathers the shattered pieces and painstakingly glues them back together, using a special lacquer mixed with powdered gold, silver, or platinum. The philosophy of kintsugi is not to hide the repair. It is to illuminate it. The cracks are not disguised. They are celebrated as a vital part of the object's history. The finished piece is a breathtaking testament to resilience. The network of golden seams tells a story of survival, of transformation. The bowl is considered more beautiful, more precious, and more resilient for having been broken. Your soul is such a piece of pottery. Life, in its immense and often brutal power, will inevitably bring moments that shatter you. The heartbreak, the failure, the loss, the trauma. These are the moments you are dropped and you fall to the floor in 1,000 pieces. For a time you lie there, shattered, believing you are ruined forever. But the process of healing is the art of spiritual kintsugi. You begin to gather your own pieces. The tears you cry are the first cleansing rains. The self-reflection, the therapy, the quiet moments of introspection. This is the patient act of fitting your own pieces back together. And the wisdom you gain, the compassion that is born from your suffering, the empathy you develop for others who are broken, the unshakable resilience you discover at your own korathis is the gold. You are mixing the lacquer of your healing with the pure gold of your newfound wisdom, and you are mending your own cracks. Your scars are the golden seams that trace the story of your survival. They are proof that you were stronger than what tried to destroy you. Now, consider which object holds more power, more soul. Is it the flawless, mass-produced, factory-perfect bowl that has never known a struggle? Or is it the kintsugi bowl, with its unique and luminous network of golden scars? The perfect bowl is cold, sterile, and unapproachable. It has no story to tell. The kintsugi bowl invites you closer. It makes you want to trace the golden lines with your finger. It radiates a quiet dignity, a profound beauty born of history. So it is with people. The person who projects an image of flawless perfection, who has never made a mistake, never had their heart broken, never failed. This person is like the factory bowl. We may admire them from a distance, but they feel unrelatable, even intimidating. Their perfect surface offers no entry point for our own messy, imperfect humanity. We cannot connect with perfection because we know, in our bones, that we are not perfect. It is the person who has the courage to let their golden seams show who becomes truly magnetic. Their presence communicates a profound and comforting truth. I have been broken, and I have healed. I am not perfect. Therefore, you do not have to be perfect around me. It is safe to be a human being here. This is one of the most generous and irresistible invitations one soul can offer another. This is conscious vulnerability. It is not weakness. It is the quiet, unshakable strength of a kintsugi master, unafraid to show the beauty of their repair work. It is here that we must make a crucial and compassionate distinction. There is a world of energetic difference between sharing your scars and bleeding from your wounds. Conscious vulnerability is not the same as victimhood or complaining. To complain, to be stuck in a victim mentality, is to be constantly reliving the moment of the shattering. The energy is focused on the injustice of the fall, on the pain of the breakage, on blaming the one who dropped the bowl. It is an unhealed state, and its energy is a constant, draining demand for pity, for validation, for someone else to come and fix the pieces. This energy is repellent because it is a psychic leak, seeking to siphon energy from others. It is the sound of the shattered bowl crying out from the floor. Conscious vulnerability, the magnetism of scars, is entirely different. It is the energy of sharing your story from the perspective of the mended whole. The focus is not on the pain, but on the gold. It is sharing the story of your healing, of the lessons learned, of the strength discovered. Its intention is not to elicit pity, but to offer hope, connection, or wisdom. Its energy is generous, not demanding. It is the kintsugi bowl, sitting on display in quiet confidence, its golden seams telling a story not of fragility, but of incredible strength. Consider the energetic difference between these two statements. The victim says, "I can never trust anyone again because I was betrayed so badly." This is a closed door, a broadcast of bitter, unresolved pain. The kintsugi warrior says, "Going through that betrayal was one of the most painful experiences of my life, but it forced me to learn how to build an unshakable trust in myself. It taught me what I am truly made of." This is an open door, a broadcast of resilience and wisdom. The first pushes people away. The second draws them in, inspiring them to find the gold in their own cracks. I invite you now to become the kintsugi artist of your own soul. Take a moment to bring to mind a past struggle, a time you felt broken. Do not dwell on the pain of the event itself. Instead, shift your focus. Look for the gold. What strength did you have to discover within yourself to get through it? What new compassion for others did you develop? What limiting belief did it shatter? What did you learn about the nature of life, or love, or your own spirit? See if you can identify the golden seam that this experience left upon your soul. In your mind's eye, trace it, honor it. See it not as a flaw, but as a mark of your unique, resilient beauty. This is an act of profound self-love. It is the claiming of your own story, not as a tragedy, but as an epic of survival and transformation. When you learn to honor your own scars in this way, you no longer feel the need to hide them. You carry them not with shame, but with a quiet, dignified grace. This creates an astonishingly safe space around you. People who are still hiding their own cracks, who are terrified of their own imperfections, feel a sense of relief in your presence. Your quiet self-acceptance gives them permission to accept themselves. Your healed wounds become a beacon for their own healing. When you embody this kintsugi philosophy, you cease to be just a person in a conversation. You become a space, a sacred, non-judgmental space where others feel they can finally set down their own heavy masks, where they can stop pretending to be perfect and reveal the truth of their own journey. The creation of this sacred space is not achieved through what you say, but through a far more profound and often silent act. It is born from the art of deep listening, from the silence that speaks volumes. When you have learned to honor the golden seams of your own history, you become a walking sanctuary. Your presence, infused with the quiet dignity of a survivor, naturally creates a space of safety around you. And in this safe space, others feel an unspoken permission to be real. The most profound way you offer this sanctuary to another human being is not through advice, comfort, or wisdom, but through the forgotten sacred art of listening. In a world that is screaming for attention, the rarest and most magnetic gift you can give is your undivided silence. We have been taught that connection is forged in the brilliance of what we say. The truth is that the deepest connections are forged in the resonant quality of how we listen. Our modern conversations are often not conversations at all. They are competing monologues. We have become a culture of people who are simply waiting for their turn to speak. The person across from us is talking, and we are not truly with them. We are in our own minds, reloading. We are formulating our response, preparing our witty rebuttal, searching our memory banks for a similar story of our own that will prove we understand. We are waiting for them to take a breath so we can fire off our own volley of words. The ego is desperate to perform. It wants to be seen as smart, so it formulates advice. It wants to be seen as funny, so it searches for a joke. It wants to be seen as empathetic, so it rushes to say, "I know exactly how you feel," and then hijacks the conversation to talk about its own experience. The restless mind, unaccustomed to stillness, grows bored and begins to judge, to label, to wander. We are physically present, but spiritually, we are absent. And the person speaking feels it. They feel that they are talking to a wall. They feel unheard, unseen, and fundamentally unimportant. They feel like a prompt for your story, rather than the protagonist of their own. This form of hearing does not create connection. It deepens the chasm of loneliness. True listening is a spiritual practice. It is an active, creative, and profoundly generous act. It requires that you do something that feels counterintuitive and even frightening to the ego. You must be willing to disappear. Imagine that your consciousness, your presence, is a beautiful ceramic bowl. For most of us, when we enter a conversation, our bowl is already full. It is overflowing with our own opinions, our agendas, our anxieties, our desire to be liked, our urgent need to speak. When another person tries to share something of themselves, there is no room for it to land. It simply spills over the side, unreceived. Deep, magnetic listening is the art of consciously and intentionally emptying your bowl. You take all of your own needs, the need to be right, the need to fix, the need to tell your story, and you gently set them aside. You become a vast, empty, and receptive space. This is no ordinary bowl. It is a resonant bowl. It is sturdy, for it is grounded in your own embodied presence. It is clear, for it is free from the cloudiness of judgment. And it hums with the gentle frequency of pure curiosity and compassion. When you offer this empty bowl to another person, you give them one of the most profound gifts they will ever receive. You give them a safe space to pour out the contents of their own heart and mind. As they pour their story, their confusion, their joy, their pain into the clear, resonant space you are holding for them, something magical happens. They begin to hear themselves for the first time. The shape of their own thoughts becomes clear to them. The sound of their own inner wisdom emerges from the noise. You did not offer them answers. You offered them the sacred space in which they could find their own. This is the difference between fixing and healing. Fixing is imposing your will upon another. Healing is creating the conditions for another to reclaim their own power. This is an act of immense respect, and it is irresistibly magnetic. People will be drawn to you not because you have all the answers, but because in your presence they discover their own. To cultivate this ability, we must understand that there are different depths of listening. The first level is what most of us do, listening to the words. This is the intellectual act of hearing the factual content. Your boss gives you instructions. You listen to the words to make sure you get the details right. Your friend tells you they went to the store, then to the bank, then home. You are tracking the narrative. This is a necessary, but very shallow form of listening. It creates transactions, not connections. The second, deeper level is listening for the emotion. This is the beginning of true empathy. Here, you listen underneath the words for the feeling tone that is driving the story. Your partner might be telling you a long, detailed story about a conflict they had at work. On the surface level, it's about spreadsheets and deadlines. But as you listen with your heart, you are not just tracking the plot. You are asking, what is the feeling here? You hear the frustration in their tone. You sense the feeling of being disrespected. You feel the underlying anxiety about their position. When you respond, you don't respond to the story about the spreadsheet. You respond to the emotion. A simple, "Wow, that sounds like it felt really unfair," will create a more powerful connection than 100 pieces of advice. At this level, the person feels not just heard, but felt. They feel understood. The third and most profound level is listening for what is unsaid. This is the art of listening with your entire being. You listen with your intuition, with your body, with the stillness you have cultivated. You listen to the pauses, the hesitations, the topics that are nervously avoided. You listen for the recurring themes that run through all of their stories. You listen for the core belief, the central question that this person is living out. They may be talking about their difficulty in dating, but you might sense that the unspoken theme is a deep-seated fear of abandonment. They may be celebrating a career success, but you may sense the unspoken question, am I finally worthy of love now? Listening at this level is not about being a mind reader. It is about holding a space so pure and so present that the other person's soul feels safe enough to reveal itself, to them as much as to you. When someone experiences being listened to at this depth, it is a moment of grace. They feel seen, perhaps for the first time in their entire life. This level of listening is one of the highest forms of love. Becoming this kind of listener is a practice. It begins with intention. Before you speak with someone, you can silently set the intention. My only goal in this conversation is to offer this person the gift of my presence. I will empty my bowl and simply receive. As they speak, notice the relentless urge of your ego to interrupt, to relate, to advise. See it, acknowledge its well-meaning intention to help, and then gently let it go. Return your focus fully to the other person. Use silence as a tool. When they pause, do not rush to fill the void. Hold the space. Stay with them in the silence, maintaining soft, gentle eye contact. It is in these pauses that the most important truths often emerge, like shy creatures coming out of the forest after a loud noise has passed. This radical act of deep listening, of offering your empty, resonant presence, is incredibly powerful, but it is also incredibly challenging. It requires a profound inner shift, because it asks you to release one of the ego's most powerful and tenacious attachments, its desperate need for a specific outcome. To truly listen, to truly hold a space for another, you must be willing to let go of your need to be liked, your need to seem smart, your need to be right. You must release your attachment to the outcome of the conversation and simply trust the sacred process of connection itself. We have explored the sacred space created by deep listening, a space born from the emptying of our own inner bowl. But as we attempt this practice, we encounter the gatekeeper, the primary obstacle to true presence, our deep, often unconscious, attachment to the outcome of our interactions. We may show up to a conversation, but we are rarely empty-handed. We carry a hidden agenda. We are there not simply to connect, but to get something. We want to be liked. We want to be seen as intelligent. We want to be found attractive. We want to secure a job, a date, or simply the validation of a laugh. This secret mission, this attachment to a future result, is the very engine of social anxiety and the single greatest repellent to authentic connection. True, effortless magnetism is born from the radical act of letting go, of showing up with open hands and an open heart, willing to receive whatever unfolds without demand. Let us dissect this energy of attachment, this needy energy. It is the vibration of a vacuum, an inner emptiness that is desperately trying to be filled from the outside. It is the broadcast of lack. When your primary unspoken goal is to be liked, you become a chameleon, shape-shifting your personality to match what you think the other person wants. You lose your center, you betray your own truth, and the core of you becomes hollow. When your agenda is to be seen as interesting, you monopolize the conversation, turning dialogue into a performance. You are so focused on transmitting your own brilliance that you become incapable of receiving another's part. When your need is to be right, conversation becomes a battlefield. You listen not for understanding, but for weakness, for a flaw in the other's logic. You create an energy of conflict, not communion. This constant, underlying neediness is a heavy burden to place on another person. It silently communicates a desperate message. I am not whole. My well-being depends on your response. Please approve of me. Please fill this emptiness inside me. People feel this energetic demand on a primal level. It feels claustrophobic. It feels like a trap. And the natural, healthy response is to move away, to create distance, to escape the pressure of being responsible for your emotional state. You did not intend to push them away. In fact, you desperately wanted them to come closer. But the frequency of your neediness created an invisible, repellent force field around you. There is a beautiful and profound metaphor for this dynamic. Imagine a person in a meadow, intent on catching a butterfly. Let us call them the hunter. The hunter is armed with a net, which is their agenda, their desired outcome. Their body is tense, their gaze is locked, their movements are calculated and predatory. They see the butterfly and lunge for it, crashing through the tall grass, their net swishing violently through the air. But the butterfly, a creature of pure lightness and sensitivity, feels the disturbance. It feels the predatory intent, the heavy vibration of, "I want to capture you." And so, it flits and dances away, effortlessly eluding the clumsy pursuit. The more the hunter chases, the more frantic they become, and the further the butterfly recedes. The hunter is left exhausted, frustrated, and alone in the meadow, their net empty. This is the path of trying to get connection, to force an outcome. Now, imagine another person in the same meadow. Let us call them the flower. The flower has no net. It has no agenda concerning the butterfly. Its entire purpose, its entire practice, is simply to be a flower, as fully and authentically as possible. It sinks its roots deep into the earth, drawing stability and nourishment. This is its grounding practice. It turns its face toward the sun, absorbing the light that feeds it. This is its practice of self-love and receiving grace. And then, it simply opens its petals to the world. It offers its color, its fragrance, its nectar freely, without condition, without demanding that any specific creature must come and receive it. Its existence is its invitation. The butterfly, floating on the warm air currents, senses the still, fragrant, nourishing energy of the flower. It feels no threat, no demand, no predatory intent. It feels only a generous offering of life. And so, it is naturally drawn in. It comes of its own accord, lightly, joyfully, and lands upon the petal to rest for a moment. The connection is made. It is not a capture. It is a moment of shared, effortless grace. It is a byproduct of the flower's authentic being. You must choose. Will you be the hunter, forever chasing connection and finding it always just beyond your grasp? Or will you do the deep, quiet, inner work of becoming the flower and allow connection to come to you? To become the flower is to reverse the entire flow of your social energy. It is a great reversal from a life of getting to a life of giving. You must stop entering interactions wondering, what can I get from this person? Do they like me? Am I impressing them? And start entering with the quiet intention, what can I offer this person? To be clear, this offering is not about giving unsolicited advice or compliments aimed at manipulation or material objects. The gifts we are talking about are far more precious, for they are energetic and attentional. You can offer the gift of your presence, the resonant, empty bowl of your listening. You can offer the gift of your acceptance, the profound gift of allowing another person to be exactly who they are in that moment, without needing them to be different for your own comfort. You can offer the gift of your curiosity, a genuine interest in their world, their story, their unique perspective. And you can offer the gift of your warmth, the simple, silent broadcast of goodwill from your heart, with no strings attached. This shift from getting to giving is the ultimate antidote to social anxiety. Anxiety is an intensely self-absorbed state. Its mantra is me, me, me. What do they think of me? How am I coming across? What will I say next? Am I blushing? The moment your focus shifts from your own performance to a generous offering of attention to the other person, the anxiety dissolves. It cannot survive in the atmosphere of genuine curiosity. You become too fascinated by the landscape of the other person's soul to be worried about the trivialities of your own performance. You forget yourself. and in that forgetting, you become your most magnetic self. This is a practice you can begin immediately. Before you enter a room, before you join a call, before you meet a friend, take one conscious breath. Set a silent intention. Let it be something like this. For this interaction, I release all attachment to the outcome. I have no agenda. My sole purpose is to be a peaceful presence and to offer the gift of my curiosity. I am here to be the flower, not the hunter. Feel this intention settle in your body. Feel the shift from the tight, anxious energy of needing to the soft, open, expansive energy of offering. You are no longer entering the meadow as a beggar with a net. You are entering as a host, a source of nourishment rooted in your own being. When you can truly release the outcome, when your happiness is no longer contingent on another person's reaction to you, you are free. You become fearless. You can speak your truth with kindness, because you are not attached to them agreeing with you. You can listen with profound depth, because you are not waiting to speak. You can be silent with comfort, because you do not need to fill the space with noise. As the desperate, calculating chatter of the performance mind dies down, a new channel of perception opens within you. You stop communicating at people with your words, and you begin communicating with them on a much deeper, more resonant plane. You become exquisitely attuned to the subtle, powerful language that is spoken without a single sound. It is the language of the body, the resonance of pure energy, and the profound, silent architecture of your gaze. Having released the desperate hunt for a specific outcome, you find yourself standing in a new kind of silence. It is not an empty silence, but a rich and perceptive one. The frantic inner narrator has quieted down, and because of this, your subtler senses begin to awaken. Of all these senses, none is more direct, more potent, or more intimate in the art of human connection than your sense of sight. We have been taught that the eyes are the windows to the soul, and this is true, but it is only half the truth. Your eyes are not just windows through which you look out. They are projectors through which your inner world is cast upon another. They do not merely receive light, they transmit consciousness. The quality of your gaze is an active force, an energetic tool that can build walls or open gateways. And learning to use this tool with conscious, loving intention is a master practice in the art of magnetism. In every interaction, you are choosing, consciously or unconsciously, between two fundamental ways of seeing. The first is the gaze of the ego, the gaze of judgment. Let us imagine this gaze as a harsh, clinical spotlight, the kind used in an interrogation. It is a narrow, focused, penetrating beam of light. When you look at another person with this gaze, you are not truly seeing them. You are evaluating them. You are scanning them for data, for flaws, for information that can be used to categorize and assess them. This gaze asks a series of silent, rapid-fire questions. Are you a threat or an opportunity? Are you higher or lower status than me? Are you attractive enough? Smart enough? What can I get from you? It is the gaze that sizes people up, that notices the stain on their shirt or the slight stammer in their speech. To be on the receiving end of this spotlight is a deeply uncomfortable experience. It makes you feel exposed, scrutinized, and unsafe. It triggers an immediate defensive response. Your own walls go up. Your armor clinks into place. You reveal nothing of your true self because the environment feels hostile. We often project this gaze without realizing it, for it is the default setting of a mind rooted in fear and comparison. The second way of seeing is the gaze of the soul, the gaze of acceptance. Let us imagine this gaze as a single, warm candle flame in a quiet, safe room. Unlike the spotlight, the candlelight does not probe or interrogate. It does not reach out and grab. It simply is. Its light is soft, warm, and unconditional. It fills the space with a gentle glow, illuminating everything without judgment. It creates pools of soft shadow where things can remain hidden and feel safe. When you look at another person with this gaze, you are offering them the gift of this candlelight. You are not evaluating their surface. You are sensing their essence. This gaze does not ask what they can do for you. It silently communicates a simple, profound message. I see you. I am here with you. All of you is welcome in this space. Your light and your shadows. You do not need to perform. You are safe. To be seen with this gaze is a deeply healing experience. It melts the armor. It lowers the defensive walls. It allows the tender, authentic self to step forward, because the environment has been made sacred. This gaze is an act of profound, energetic hospitality, and it is irresistibly magnetic. People will be drawn to the warmth of your candle, seeking refuge from the harsh spotlights of the world. The choice between the spotlight and the candle is made in your inner world before your eyes ever meet another's clungs. A mind full of judgment cannot project a gaze of acceptance. The practice, therefore, begins within. Before you enter a conversation, take a moment to connect, not with an agenda, but with a simple feeling of goodwill. Silently hold the intention, may this person be happy, may this person be at peace. By generating this warmth in your own heart, you are lighting your own inner candle. The light will then naturally shine through your eyes. With this inner state cultivated, we can then turn to the physical practice of what is called the soft gaze. The spotlight gaze is physically tense. The muscles around the eyes are tight, the focus is sharp and narrow. To soften your gaze, you must consciously relax these tiny muscles. Let go of the need to see every detail with razor-sharp clarity. Instead of looking at the person as if they are an object to be analyzed, imagine you are softly receiving their image. Let them come to you. This subtle shift from active taking to passive receiving completely changes the energetic quality of your looking. From this place of physical softness, you can move to a deeper practice, seeing essence instead of form. As you look at the person across from you, consciously look past the superficial details, their age, their clothes, their role, their physical features. Look directly into their eyes and see them not as a name or a body, but as a center of consciousness, a fellow spark of life on a mysterious journey, just like you. Try to feel the shared humanity that exists behind the two pairs of eyes. When you look at someone and see a soul, instead of just a personality, your gaze is automatically imbued with a sense of reverence and wonder. This is the candlelight in its purest form. This brings us to the intimate dance of eye contact itself. We often feel immense anxiety around eye contact because it is a direct, unmediated channel of connection. It bypasses the witty stories and intellectual defenses of the ego. It is a direct, soul-to-soul transmission, and that level of intimacy can feel terrifying to our conditioned selves. We fear that if they truly look in, they will see our inadequacy. We fear that if we truly look in, we will see their pain. And so we glance, we dart, we look away, we break the connection before it can become too real. Magnetic presence requires us to become comfortable in this sacred space. This does not mean an aggressive, unbroken stare, which is simply the spotlight at maximum intensity. It means a gentle, rhythmic dance. It is the ability to meet another's gaze with the soft, warm candlelight of your acceptance, and to hold it for a few moments, silently communicating, I am here, I am with you. And then, to gently look away for a moment is not an act of rejection, but an act of respect. It gives both of you a moment to breathe, to integrate the connection. It prevents the intimacy from becoming overwhelming. Then, you bring your gaze back, consciously re-engaging, silently saying, and I am still here. This gentle rhythm of connecting, breathing, and reconnecting creates a powerful container of trust and safety. The way you see another person is not a passive observation. It is a creative act. Your gaze can be a prison that locks them into a certain role, or it can be a key that unlocks a potential within them they did not know they had. When you look at someone with the spotlight of judgment, you implicitly invite their defensive, masked self to the conversation. When you look at them with the candlelight of acceptance, when your gaze says, "I see the beautiful, whole, and powerful soul behind your fear," you invite that magnificent self to step forward and meet you. You can literally help to call forth the best in another person, simply by the quality of light you choose to shine upon them. This silent, powerful language of the eyes lays the foundation of trust and safety. It creates the energetic container for all true connection. Once this sacred container is established, the sounds we choose to create within it take on an entirely new resonance and power. For alongside the architecture of your gaze, the very vibration and tone of your voice becomes another magnificent instrument for broadcasting your inner state. Let us now explore the resonance of your voice. Within the sacred container of safety you have built with your silent, accepting gaze, we now introduce sound. But this is not the noise of the ego, not the frantic chatter of the performance self. This is the sound of your own being, made manifest. It is your voice. Your voice is the bridge between your silent inner world and the audible outer world. It is the river through which your breath, your intention, and your very life force flow out to touch another. We have been taught to focus on the words we choose, but the magnetism of your speech lies less in the content of your message and more in the resonance of the instrument that delivers it. Your voice is perhaps the most honest part of you. It is a living polygraph, revealing your inner state with breathtaking accuracy, even when your words attempt to lie. A voice that trembles betrays the fear behind a confident statement. A voice that is tight and high-pitched reveals the anxiety behind a casual, "I'm fine." A voice that is flat and monotone exposes the disconnection from your own heart, no matter how passionate your words may be. We are all experts in reading this subconscious language. We feel the truth of a person's tone long before we process the meaning of their words. To become a truly magnetic presence, you must learn to tune this sacred instrument, to allow it to become a clear and beautiful conduit for your authentic self. Let us imagine your voice is a magnificent temple bell. The quality of its sound depends on two things: the material from which the bell is cast and the way in which it is struck. Your body is the bell itself. A body that is tense, constricted, and starved of breath is like a bell made of cheap, thin tin. No matter how you strike it, it can only produce a jarring, shrill, unpleasant clang. It is a sound that puts one on edge. A body that is relaxed, open, and grounded in the earth is like a bell cast from heavy, resonant bronze. It is capable of producing a tone of immense depth and beauty, a sound that can travel for miles and bring a sense of peace to all who hear it. The way the bell is struck is your emotional intention. An anxious, needy intention strikes the bell frantically and erratically, producing a chaotic jumble of noise. A calm, centered, and loving intention strikes the bell with a single, mindful, focused motion, allowing the bell's true fundamental tone to emerge and sing out, its resonance lingering in the air long after the strike, calming the very atmosphere of the space. Our work, then, is to build a bronze bell with our bodies and to learn to strike it with the intention of peace. To do this, we must first understand the anatomy of a non-resonant voice, the sound of the tin bell that so many of us have become accustomed to. The primary culprit is the breath of anxiety. When we feel unsafe or stressed, our bodies revert to an ancient survival pattern. Our breathing becomes shallow, rapid, and high up in the chest. This is called clavicular breathing. It is the body preparing for fight or flight, sipping just enough air to power a sprint or a struggle. It was never meant for deep connection. A voice powered by this shallow emergency breath is inevitably weak, thin, and shaky. It sounds unsustainable, as if it could run out at any moment, because it often does. This forces the speaker to rush, to cram their words into a tiny parcel of air, creating a frantic pace that communicates panic to the listener. This shallow breath is paired with the throat becoming a prison for the voice. When you are afraid to speak your truth, when you feel judged, or when you are trying to force a particular outcome, the complex network of muscles in your neck, jaw and throat constricts. This is a physical manifestation of energetic holding. You are literally choking back your own authentic expression. The sound is then forced through a tiny, tight opening, which pitches the voice higher and strips it of all its natural warmth and richness. This is the voice of the mask, the sound of a prisoner rattling at the bars of their cage. It is a sound of immense effort, and it is tiring to produce and tiring to listen to. It lacks the gravitas and trustworthiness that comes from a voice that is free and unencumbered. The final element of the non-resonant voice is often its speed. We speak quickly when we are nervous because, on a subconscious level, we want the interaction to be over. We are rushing through a perceived danger zone. This rapid-fire delivery makes it impossible for the listener to relax. They feel your urgency, your desire to escape, and it makes them anxious in turn. They cannot possibly absorb your message because you are not giving them the space to do so. On the other end of the spectrum is the monotone of disconnection. This is a voice that has been flattened, stripped of all its emotional color and vitality. It is often the sound of a person who has dissociated from their feelings or their body as a defense mechanism. The words emerge, but they are like empty shells, devoid of the life force that makes speech compelling. It communicates a profound disinterest, and it makes it nearly impossible for a listener to remain engaged. The path to reclaiming your resonant, authentic voice, the sound of the bronze bellis, a journey back into the wisdom of the body. It begins not in the throat, but deep in your center. The foundation of all vocal power is diaphragmatic breathing, or belly breathing. The diaphragm is a large, dome-shaped muscle at the base of your lungs. It is the true engine of your breath. To find it, I invite you to place one hand on your chest and the other on your soft belly. As you breathe in through your nose, your intention is to breathe down past your chest and deep into your belly, so that the hand on your belly rises while the hand on your chest remains relatively still. Then, as you exhale, your belly gently falls. This is the breath of relaxation, the breath of safety, the breath of power. It provides a deep, stable, and powerful column of air that can support your voice effortlessly. It is like trying to play a magnificent pipe organ with a tiny hand pump versus connecting it to a massive, powerful bellows. Belly breathing connects you to the bellows. Once you have connected to this breath, we can begin to make sound. The most direct way to experience the resonance in your body is through the simple, powerful act of humming. The hum bypasses the analytical mind and the complexity of words. It is pure vibration. Take a slow, deep breath into your belly, and as you exhale, allow a gentle, easy hum to emerge. Close your eyes. Your only job is to become a scientist of sensation. Where do you feel the vibration? Place your hand on your chest. Can you feel the buzz beneath your palm? Place your fingertips on your nose and lips. Feel the tingle. Place your hand on the top of your head. Direct the vibration there. You are waking up the natural sounding board of your own body. You are reminding your very bones that they are an instrument of resonance. From the hum, you can find your voice's natural home. After taking a deep belly breath and sustaining a gentle hum, simply open your mouth and allow the hum to blossom into a soft ah-ha sound. Don't force it or pitch it. Just let it land where it feels most comfortable, most effortless. This is your optimal pitch. This is your vocal home base. It is likely lower and richer than the voice you use when you are anxious. The practice is to become familiar with this feeling, this sound, and to learn to speak more often from this place of centered, relaxed power. Finally, we must reclaim the power of the pause. We must unlearn the fear of silence. The pause is not a mistake. It is not a sign you have forgotten your words. The pause is a tool of immense magnetism. A pause before you make an important point builds anticipation and commands attention. It tells the listener, "Pay attention, this matters." A pause after you have made a point gives the listener the precious gift of time to digest your words, to let them land and integrate. Most powerfully, a comfortable pause communicates that you are utterly at home in the space. You are not rushing, you are not afraid. You are the host of the silence, not its victim. Your comfort with silence makes others feel calm. Practice this. Read a passage from a book aloud and take a full, luxurious 3-second belly breath at every comma and period. Feel how it changes the weight, the meaning, and the authority of the words. Ultimately, the goal is not to cultivate a perfect announcer's voice, but an authentic one. An authentic voice is a congruent voice. It is a voice where the tone, pitch, pace, and volume are in perfect alignment with the emotional truth of what is being said. When you speak of something that brings you joy, your voice is allowed to become lighter and more buoyant. When you speak of something solemn, your voice is allowed to deepen and slow down. This congruence is what builds trust at a primal level. The listener feels the harmony between your words and your music. When your voice is anchored in the deep, calm power of your breath, when it resonates from the open, relaxed core of your body, and when it is paced with the quiet confidence of intentional silence, it ceases to be just a tool for conveying information. It becomes an offering. You are not just speaking words, you are transmitting your inner state. You are bathing the listener in the frequency of your own peace. This is the voice that people lean in to hear. This is the voice that soothes, that reassures, that builds bridges. It is the sound of the great bronze bell, struck with intention, sharing its deep and healing resonance with the world. When you learn to combine this resonant instrument of your voice with the sacred, empty bowl of your listening, you create the ultimate gift in human communication. You offer not just your words, but your entire being. This is the profound state known as unconditional presence. We have journeyed inward, exploring the vast landscapes of the mind, the body, and the soul. We have learned to quiet the inner noise, to inhabit our physical form, to release the fallacy of worthiness, and to tune our gaze and our voice into instruments of connection. Now, we arrive at the culmination of all these practices. We arrive at the point where all these streams converge into a single mighty river. This is not a technique to be learned, but a state of being to be embodied. It is the practice and the gift of unconditional presence. In our fractured, distracted, and overwhelmingly noisy world, your full, undivided presence is the rarest, most precious, and most magnetic offering you can possibly make. It is the final secret, the one that contains all the others. To truly comprehend the power of presence, we must first diagnose the depth of its opposite, the modern epidemic of absence. We have all experienced it, both as perpetrator and as victim. You are sitting with someone, pouring out your heart, and you see their eyes flicker down to the phone sitting on the table. In that single tiny motion, a powerful message has been sent. You are less important than a potential notification. The infinite mystery of your soul is less compelling than the digital static of the world. Or perhaps their phone is put away, but their eyes are glazed over, their mind a million miles away. You can feel it. You are talking into a void. You see their head nodding, but you know their spirit is not home. They are a house with all the lights on, but nobody inside. This experience of being with someone who is physically present but spiritually, emotionally, and energetically absent is a profound and painful form of invalidation. It makes you feel small, uninteresting, and invisible. It is a slow-acting poison to connection. We live in an age of this polite absence, and we are starving for its antidote. The antidote is your focused, unconditional presence. Let us use a metaphor. Your consciousness, your awareness, is a beam of pure energy, like a sunbeam. For most people, most of the time, this sunbeam is scattered and diffuse. It weakly illuminates a dozen things at once. The phone, the to-do list in their head, the memory of a past argument, the anxiety about a future event, the voice of the inner critic. Because it is scattered, it has very little power. It creates no real warmth, no significant impact. It is a weak and watery light. Now, imagine you hold in your hand a powerful magnifying glass. This magnifying glass is your intention. It is the conscious, decisive choice to gather all of the scattered rays of your awareness, all of your mental energy, all of your sensory perception, all of your emotional capacity, and to focus them with laser-like precision onto a single point. In a conversation, that single point is the human being in front of you. When you focus your sunbeam through the magnifying glass of your intention, you create a point of intense heat and light. It is a beam powerful enough to burn through the fog of distraction, to melt the ice of another's defenses, to warm a heart that has grown cold with loneliness, and to ignite the kindling of true, soulful connection. To be on the receiving end of this kind of presence is an unforgettable, often life-altering experience. I invite you to remember, if you have ever been so lucky as to have felt it, you are speaking with someone, and you begin to notice something remarkable. They are not simply waiting for you to finish. They are not formulating a response. Their entire being is oriented toward you like a sunflower turning to the sun. Their gaze is soft and unwavering. Their body is still and receptive. Their mind is quiet. You can feel it. You feel that they are not just hearing the words you are saying. They are drinking them in. They are hearing the emotions beneath your words. They are hearing the silence between your words. They are listening to your soul. In the gentle, focused heat of their attention, you feel your own defenses begin to melt away. The mask you wear becomes heavy and absurd. You find yourself speaking with a new level of honesty. You hear yourself saying things you did not even know you felt or thought. The truth begins to flow out of you, drawn forth by the safe and sacred space their presence has created. For those few moments, the noisy, anxious world, with all its demands and distractions, simply disappears. Time itself seems to bend. There is only the here, only the now, only the space between the two of you. In that space, you feel profoundly seen, deeply valued, and astonishingly real. This is the gift of unconditional presence. It is the silent declaration, for this moment in time, you are the only thing in the universe that matters to me. This is not some mystical power available only to gurus and saints. Presence is a muscle. It is the muscle of focused attention, and like any muscle, it can be trained and strengthened through practice. The practice is simple in its instruction, but challenging in its execution. It is the practice of making the person in front of you the one thing. When you decide to be present with someone, you make a conscious pact with yourself. For the duration of this interaction, there is only one thing in your reality: this human being. Your phone ceases to exist. Your to-do list vanishes. Your past regrets and future anxieties are phantoms that you do not entertain. Your own inner narrator, your ego's desire to perform, is asked to take a seat in the back row and simply observe without comment. Your mind will wander. This is its nature. It will be pulled by an external sound or an internal thought. The practice is not to achieve a state of perfect, unbroken attention. The practice is in the gentle, firm, and compassionate act of returning. The moment you notice your mind has drifted, that is a moment of victory. You have awakened from the trance of distraction. And in that moment, without any self-criticism, you simply guide your focus back to the light in their eyes, back to the sound of their voice, back to the feeling of the shared space between you. Every time you do this, you are completing one repetition, one strengthening of the muscle of presence. Each return is an act of love. Each return is a recommitment to the sacred act of truly seeing another. This radical act of focusing your presence, of gathering the diffuse sunbeam of your awareness into a single, powerful point, is the core mechanism of all deep and lasting connection. But the quality of that presence, the very temperature of the light you are focusing, can be profoundly amplified. You can learn to infuse your presence with a specific, high-frequency emotional state that makes it not just focused, but radiantly warm and nourishing. The most powerful and authentic way to generate this inner warmth, to change the very color of your light from sterile white to golden, is through the steady and intentional cultivation of the gravity of gratitude. We have learned to focus the sunbeam of our awareness, to offer the profound gift of our unconditional presence. But the quality of this presence, the very temperature and color of the light we shine upon another, can be intentionally cultivated. A focused beam of cold, sterile light can feel intense, but a focused beam of warm, golden light is what truly heals and invites. The great furnace where this inner warmth is generated, the alchemical fire that turns a simple presence into a radiant one, is the steady, conscious, and courageous practice of gratitude. We must begin by reclaiming the word gratitude from the shallow waters of social pleasantry. This is not about the polite, automatic thank you we utter when someone holds a door. That is etiquette. This is not about the fleeting joy we feel only when we get what we want. That is conditional happiness. The gratitude we speak of here is a profound state of being. It is a conscious orientation of the soul. It is the disciplined choice to focus on the grace that is present rather than the lack that is perceived. It is an active, creative force that does not simply respond to reality, but actively shapes it. It is the understanding that your state of being is a prayer, and gratitude is the most powerful prayer you can offer. On an energetic level, gratitude is one of the highest, most coherent, and most harmonious frequencies a human being can embody. Picture the chaotic, jagged, angry scribble of a frequency broadcast by resentment or complaint. Now picture the smooth, elegant, symmetrical waveform broadcast by genuine appreciation. The first creates dissonance, static, and unease in the field. The second creates resonance, clarity, and peace. This frequency is not just a poetic idea. It has tangible effects on your entire system. The practice of gratitude physically rewires your brain, strengthening neural pathways that look for the positive and weakening the brain's innate negativity bias, our evolutionary inheritance that is always scanning for threats. It stimulates the parts of the brain that regulate stress and floods your system with the neurotransmitters of well-being. To practice gratitude is to physically and chemically recalibrate your being from a state of survival to a state of grace. To truly grasp its power, let us expand our metaphor of the universe as a grand, fine dining restaurant. You are a patron, seated at a table. The menu of life, with its infinite possibilities, is before you. The universal intelligence, the life force itself, is both the master chef in the kitchen and the ever-present waiter attending to your needs. Now, imagine the patron who embodies a state of lack. They complain that the water is not cold enough. They look resentfully at the next table, jealous that their appetizers arrived first. When their own food arrives, they inspect it for flaws, noting that the vegetables are slightly overcooked or the portion is smaller than they expected. Their entire being radiates a sour, contractive, and entitled energy. The waiter feels this frequency. It is unpleasant, draining. And so, the waiter's response is to provide the bare minimum. They avoid the table, only appearing when necessary. This patron has placed an order with the cosmic kitchen, and their order, broadcast through their frequency of complaint, is, "Bring me more experiences that are flawed and disappointing." The universe, as the faithful waiter, has no choice but to oblige. Now, imagine a different patron at another table. This person embodies a state of gratitude. They take a sip of the simple glass of water and feel a genuine sense of appreciation for its clean, life-giving coolness. They are not concerned with the other tables. They are absorbed in the beauty of their own experience. When the simple basket of bread arrives, they receive it with delight, marveling at its warmth and freshness. The energy radiating from this person is open, warm, appreciative, and expansive. The waiter feels this beautiful, coherent frequency and is drawn to it. They feel pleasure in serving this patron. They smile more, they linger, they return to ask if everything is perfect. They might say, The chef has prepared a special dish tonight that is not on the menu. I thought of you and wondered if you would care to try it. This patron has placed their own order, and their order, broadcast through their frequency of appreciation, is, "Bring me more experiences that are delightful and worthy of gratitude." And the universe, as the masterful and generous waiter, delights in fulfilling this request with ever-increasing abundance. The universe is not rewarding one and punishing the other. It is a neutral field. It is a mirror. It simply responds with perfect precision to the energy you broadcast. Your state of being is your standing order. What have you been ordering? The practice that transforms you from the complaining patron to the grateful one is the practice of radical gratitude. It is radical because it goes beyond the obvious and into the very fabric of existence. It is easy to be grateful for a promotion or a winning lottery ticket. The alchemy happens when you learn to be grateful for the granular, for the mundane, for the very breath in your lungs. This is a practice you can begin right now. Let your awareness become a vessel for appreciation. Start with your own body, not as a whole, but in its miraculous parts. Silently say, "Thank you, lungs, for the miracle of this breath, which you have taken from me millions of times without my asking. Thank you, heart, for your steady, loyal beat, the drum that has played the rhythm of my life since before I was born. Thank you, hands, for your ability to feel, to hold, to create, to soothe. Thank you, eyes, for the astonishing gift of color and light. Extend this granular gratitude to your immediate environment. Thank you, chair, for your solidness, for holding me so I can rest. Thank you, roof above my head, for the gift of shelter. Thank you, light in this room, for chasing away the darkness. Extend it to the mundane miracles you take for granted, the clean water that flows from your tap, the complex web of humanity that resulted in the food you last ate, the astonishing technology that is allowing these words to travel through space and time to reach your ears. To practice gratitude at this level is to rewire your perception. You begin to see that you are not living in a world of scarcity and problems. You are swimming in an ocean of miracles. Your life is not a series of things to be fixed, but a series of wonders to be appreciated. An even more profound level of this practice is what we might call kintsugi gratitude. It is the courage to find gratitude not just for your joys, but for your wounds. This is the ultimate act of alchemy. It is looking back at a time of shattering and, instead of feeling only the pain, actively looking for the gold. Thank you, heartbreak that brought me to my knees, for you cracked my heart open so that it could hold more love. Thank you, failure that humiliated me, for you burned away my arrogance and taught me the grace of humility. Thank you, period of deep loneliness, for you forced me to become my own companion and to find a source of strength within myself that I never knew I possessed. When you can genuinely thank your wounds for the wisdom they bestowed, you have reached a state of profound spiritual freedom. You have transformed the lead of your past into the gold of your present. This inner state of gratitude must then be expressed to complete its circuit. Gratitude held within warms your own heart. Gratitude expressed warms the world. Make it a practice. When you buy a coffee, look the barista in the eye and thank them, not just for the coffee, but for their presence, for their service. Write a note to a friend, not just saying thanks, but detailing specifically why you are grateful for them. Tell a family member about a specific memory you have of their kindness that has stayed with you. When you send these waves of expressed appreciation out into the world, you are sending out the clearest, most powerful broadcast of high-frequency energy. By the law of resonance, that energy must and will return to you, often amplified. This is the secret to gratitude as a social magnet. A person steeped in gratitude perceives the world through a lens of appreciation. When you look at others, you are not unconsciously scanning for their flaws or seeing them as competitors. You are naturally looking for their light. You notice their small acts of kindness, their good intentions, their unique strengths. Your entire being then broadcasts this appreciation to them. Your gaze is warm, your voice is kind, Your presence feels like a vote of confidence in their goodness. People feel this. In a world that is constantly judging them, your appreciative presence is an oasis. They feel safe, seen, and valued. And how do people respond when they feel valued? They open up. They show you their best selves. They treat you with kindness and generosity in return. This creates a magnificent, self-reinforcing upward spiral of positivity. You appreciate them, so they show you more to appreciate, which deepens your gratitude, which makes you even more magnetic. You become a center of gravity for grace, attracting beautiful experiences and wonderful people into your life, not by hunting or striving, but simply by inhabiting a state of profound and radical gratitude. This radiant, magnetic field generated by a grateful heart is a powerful gift to the world. And like any precious resource, like any beautiful and tended garden, it must be managed with wisdom. To maintain this high and coherent frequency, you must not only know how to attract connection, but also how to protect your energy from being depleted. This brings us to the crucial and often misunderstood art of setting boundaries, not as walls of rejection, but as the sacred fences that lovingly protect your inner garden. Your heart, cultivated through the practice of gratitude, has become a radiant sun, a source of immense warmth and light in the world. This high-frequency, attractive energy is a gift. It nourishes, it heals, it inspires. And like any precious and powerful resource, it must be protected with wisdom and love. For as your light grows brighter, it will inevitably attract not only those who wish to bask in its warmth, but also those who, consciously or unconsciously, seek to drain its power. The most compassionate thing you can do for yourself and for the world is to learn how to protect your energy. This brings us to the sacred and deeply misunderstood practice of setting boundaries. We have been conditioned to believe that boundaries are walls. We see them as acts of rejection, of selfishness, of unkindness. For those of us who identify as empaths, healers, or simply nice people, the act of setting a limit can feel like a betrayal of our very nature. It is tangled up with our deepest fear, the fear of abandonment. We believe that if we say no, if we disappoint someone, if we are not endlessly available, we will be deemed unlovable and cast out. And so, we abandon ourselves first. We say yes when our bodies are screaming no. We give when our own wells are dry. We allow others to walk all over our energy, our time, and our peace of mind, all in a desperate attempt to maintain a connection. This is not kindness. It is self-immolation, and it is unsustainable. True, lasting magnetism is not born from a depleted, resentful heart, but from a full and sovereign one. To understand boundaries correctly, we must return to our metaphor of the inner garden. Through your dedicated practice, you have cultivated a magnificent space within you. You have cleared the weeds of negative thought, you have planted seeds of self-worth, and you have watered them with gratitude. Your garden is now filled with vibrant, fragrant, and nourishing flowers. Now, what would happen to the most beautiful garden in the world if it had no fence? Careless passers-by would cut across it, trampling the delicate blossoms, not out of malice, but simply because there was no clear line defining where the public path ended and the sacred garden began. Wild animals would wander in at night and devour the tender shoots. The gardener would spend all of their energy in a state of exhaustion and resentment, constantly trying to repair the damage done by the lack of a clear perimeter. Your boundaries are the fence around your sacred inner garden. A boundary is not a 10-foot concrete wall topped with barbed wire, built from a place of fear and hatred of the world. A healthy boundary is more like a beautiful, handcrafted wooden fence with a clear and welcoming gate. The fence's purpose is not to reject the world, but to honor the garden. It is a loving act of self-respect. It says, to yourself and to others, the space within me is valuable. My energy, my peace, and my well-being matter. This space is sacred, and it is not open for public trampling. The gate, is the crucial element. It signifies that you are not closed off from connection. It signifies that you are in conscious control of who and what you allow into your precious space. You can open it wide to those who honor the garden. You can close and lock it to those who have proven they will bring only destruction. A garden with a clear fence and a beautiful gate is not rejected, it is respected. People admire its beauty, and when they are invited through the gate, they enter with a sense of reverence and care. The fear of setting this fence is rooted in a profound misunderstanding of love and respect. We believe a good person has no fence, that their garden must be open to all, at all times. This is the myth of selfless martyrdom. But a resentful, exhausted yes is a broadcast of low-frequency, toxic energy. It is an inauthentic act, a calm, loving, and honest. No, on the other hand, is a broadcast of self-respect and integrity. It is a high-frequency act of authenticity. Furthermore, a boundary is the ultimate test of the quality of a relationship. When you set a clear, respectful boundary with someone, you are not delivering a threat. You are revealing a truth. A person who genuinely loves and respects you will honor your boundary. They may be disappointed, but they will respect your right to have your own needs and limits. In fact, their respect for you will deepen because you have demonstrated that you value yourself. However, a person who reacts to your boundary with anger, manipulation, guilt-tripping, or by abandoning the relationship has just given you a priceless gift. They have revealed that their connection to you was never based on respect for your being, but on the convenience of your compliance. They were not connected to you. They were connected to your lack of offense. Your boundary did not destroy the relationship. It simply illuminated the fact that a true, respectful relationship never existed. The fence, therefore, becomes a graceful and powerful filter, one that automatically and effortlessly removes unhealthy and parasitic connections from your life, leaving space for authentic ones to flourish. Learning to build this fence is a practice. It starts with giving yourself permission to have needs and limits. Your energy is not an infinite resource. Your time is the currency of your life. Your peace is your most precious asset. You have a right to protect them. Once you have given yourself this inner permission, you can practice the art of the compassionate no. The formula is simple. First, you acknowledge and validate the other person. This communicates that you are not rejecting them as a person. Phrases like, "Thank you so much for asking," or "I really appreciate you thinking of me for this," start the interaction with a frequency of warmth. Second, you state your no clearly, simply, and without elaborate excuses or apologies. A long, convoluted justification signals that you are uncomfortable with your own boundary. A simple, "I'm not going to be able to make that happen," or "I don't have the energetic capacity for that right now," is sufficient. It is honest and complete. You do not need to defend your no. Your no is a complete sentence. Finally, if it feels authentic, you can reinforce the connection by offering an alternative. "I can't join that committee, but I'll be cheering you on from the sidelines." This separates the specific request from the overall relationship, honoring your limit while also honoring the connection. When you begin this practice, be prepared for some people not to like it. They have become accustomed to the convenience of your fenceless garden. Your only task is to hold your ground with quiet, firm compassion. You are not responsible for their reaction to your self-respect. The paradox is that this practice of creating healthy separation makes you far more magnetic, not less. A person without boundaries radiates a subtle energy of low self-worth. They communicate that their own needs come last, and subconsciously, people often treat them accordingly. But a person with clear, loving boundaries radiates an unmistakable aura of self-respect. This energy is incredibly attractive. It communicates that you are a person of substance and integrity. It communicates that your time and energy are valuable. And because of this, your yes, when you choose to give it, becomes 1,000 times more meaningful. It is a genuine gift, not an obligation, and its value is felt profoundly. When your energetic field is protected by these clear and loving boundaries, a new sense of safety and security blossoms within you. You are no longer interacting with the world from a place of fear, constantly scanning for threats or bracing for impact. You are safe and centered within your own sovereign space. It is from this position of profound inner security and strength that you can engage with others in an entirely new way, allowing for a form of connection that transcends the ego and its defenses. This is the sacred art of mirroring souls. Standing now within the safe and sacred space created by your loving boundaries, you are finally free. You are no longer defending a territory, so you can become a true explorer. You are no longer bracing for impact, so you can open your heart in ways you never thought possible. From this position of profound inner security, we can now engage in the most beautiful and transformative art form in human relationships, the art of mirroring souls, not egos. Most of what we call conversation in our world is not a true meeting. It is a transaction between two egos. The ego is the constructed self, the mask, the collection of stories, wounds, beliefs, and defenses that we mistake for our identity. When two egos interact, it is like two mirrors facing each other in an empty room. What can they possibly show each other? Only an endless, sterile reflection of their own surface. The ego self looks at another person and sees only a reflection of its own agenda. It hears another's story and immediately thinks, "How does this relate to me? My story is more interesting. My pain was worse. My advice is better." The conversation becomes a competitive game of comparison and one-upmanship. It is a closed, airless loop, a hall of mirrors where no real light can enter, and both parties leave feeling unseen and subtly drained. The communion of souls is an entirely different reality. The soul is not the constructed self. It is the witnessing presence beneath it all. It is the unwounded, inherently worthy, luminous essence of your being. It is the spark of the divine within you. Soul-to-soul connection happens when we choose to stop being a mirror that reflects another ego and instead become a mirror that reflects the soul light we see in the other person. Imagine our hall of mirrors again. Now, imagine that sunlight begins to stream through a high window, bathing the room in warmth and light. This sunlight is the light of the soul, the essence of a person's being. When this sunlight hits one of the mirrors, that mirror is now given a sacred choice. It can continue to reflect the empty surface of the other mirror, or it can angle itself to catch the sunlight and reflect that brilliant light throughout the room, illuminating the other mirror and the space between them. To mirror a soul is to make this conscious choice. It is the practice of looking past the other person's their defensiveness, their anxiety, their bragging, their complaining, and actively searching for the sunlight of their true self. Your sacred task is to find their light and reflect it back to them, so they may see themselves as you see them, whole, beautiful, and luminous. This is not a passive act. It is a discipline of perception. It is an active form of listening that goes deeper than ever before. It begins with a clear and conscious intention. Before you engage with someone, you can silently set this intention. My purpose in this interaction is not to be interesting, but to be interested. My goal is not to be seen, but to see. I choose to look for the light in this person. This intention primes your entire perceptual system to a different frequency. You are no longer hunting for flaws, you are treasure hunting for beauty. So what does this light look and sound like? It reveals itself in moments of unmasked authenticity. Your job is to become a detective for these moments. First, listen for passion. What is the topic that makes this person's eyes light up? What subject makes the energy of their voice shift from monotone to melodic? It may be their children, their garden, a complex political issue, a piece of music, a favorite sports team. It does not matter what the subject is. The passion itself is a direct line to their soul's joy. When you hear it, gently reflect it back, not with empty flattery, but with genuine curiosity. It's amazing how your whole energy changes when you talk about your hiking trips. It's clear that's a huge source of joy for you. You are showing them their own light. Second, listen for their core values. Behind the surface chatter of daily events, people are constantly revealing the principles that guide their lives. In a story about a conflict at work, you might hear a deep underlying value for justice or fairness. In a story about a friend, you might hear a powerful commitment to loyalty. Reflect this back to them. It sounds like being a loyal friend is one of the most important things to you. By doing this, you show them you are listening to their character, not just their story. You are seeing the noble architecture of their soul. Third, listen for what they love. When a person speaks of what they truly love, a child, a partner, a pet, a piece of art, a memory, their ego defenses momentarily dissolve. The voice you are hearing in that moment is the voice of their heart. It is pure, unguarded, and authentic. Receive these moments with reverence. A simple, "You speak about your grandmother with such incredible love," is a reflection that honors the most beautiful part of them. Finally, even in a story of hardship, listen for their strength. The ego tells the story from the perspective of the victim. The soul's perspective is that of the survivor. When someone tells you of a difficult time, listen past the pain and find the thread of their resilience, their courage, their perseverance. Instead of reflecting their pain with a, "That sounds awful," reflect their strength with a, "It must have taken incredible courage to get through that." You are gently shifting them from a story of victimhood to a story of empowerment, simply by choosing to mirror their strength instead of their wound. This act of mirroring a person's light is a sacred responsibility. For many people, it will be the first time in their lives that it has ever happened. They have lived their entire existence in the ego's hall of mirrors, being shown only reflections of their flaws, their inadequacies, their masks. When you hold up a clear mirror to their soul and show them their own beauty, their own kindness, their own courage, it can be a profoundly moving and even disorienting experience. You are showing them a truth about themselves that they had long forgotten or never known. This is why it must be done with absolute sincerity, with deep love, and with no agenda for personal gain. You are not reflecting their light to get them to like you. You are reflecting their light because you see it, you honor it, and the reflection itself is the offering. It is an act of grace. When you begin to live in this way as a safe harbor, protected by your own boundaries, as a deep listener, offering the gift of your presence, and as a sacred mirror, reflecting the soul light of others, something truly miraculous begins to happen. The entire dynamic of your social life shifts from one of frantic striving to one of graceful receiving. You no longer feel you have to go out into the world and hunt for connection, performing and proving yourself. You have become the very thing that connection seeks, a nourishing, authentic, and high vibrational presence. You will find, with a sense of quiet wonder, that you are no longer searching for your tribe, because your tribe is now searching for you, drawn in by the unmistakable resonance of your vibration. We have walked a long and transformative path together. We have journeyed from the chaotic noise of the mind into the deep stillness of the soul. We have learned to inhabit our bodies as sacred homes, to release the crushing burden of unworthiness, to set loving boundaries that honor our energy, and to see others not for their masks, but for the beautiful light of their true selves. All of these practices have not been isolated exercises. They have been a cohesive, holistic process of profound energetic recalibration. You have been meticulously tuning the very instrument of your being. The question now becomes, for what purpose? The answer is both simple and life-altering. You have been learning to compose and broadcast your own unique, authentic song into the universe. And now, you can simply trust that those who are meant to hear it will. This is the end of the lonely hunt for connection. This is the beginning of the joyous discovery of your tribe. For most of our lives, we operate under a painful and exhausting paradigm of scarcity. We believe connection is a limited resource, that we must go out and acquire through forceful effort. This is the world of networking. The very word feels transactional, cold, and inauthentic. It conjures images of forcing conversations, collecting contacts like trophies, and assessing people for their potential usefulness. It is the ego's approach to community. It is rooted in the fear that if we don't strive, we will be left alone. This approach, this hunt for connection, is energetically expensive and deeply unsatisfying. It forces us to wear our most polished masks, to perform our best tricks, and it rarely, if ever, leads to the deep, soulful communion our hearts truly crave. It leaves us feeling like a hunter who has spent all day chasing butterflies, only to come home with an empty net and a weary heart. We are now ready to leave that paradigm behind forever. We are ready to embrace the paradigm of resonance and abundance. This new paradigm asserts a revolutionary truth. You do not need to find your tribe. You need only to become so authentically and powerfully yourself that your tribe can find you. It is a shift from doing to being. It is a shift from hunting to attracting. It is a profound act of trust in the fundamental physics of the universe. Like attracts like. Your work is not to go out into the world and audition for friendships. Your work is to cultivate your inner garden so profoundly that the scent of it naturally draws in the souls who are meant to walk its paths with you. This is a great exhale, a laying down of a heavy burden you were never meant to carry. To understand this principle, let us use a metaphor from the natural world. Imagine a great whale moving through the vast, dark, silent expanse of the deep ocean. The ocean is the world, seemingly full of empty space and immense distances. The whale is the individual soul, a magnificent being on its own journey. Now, this whale does not swim frantically from one end of the ocean to the other, peering into every coral reef, desperately searching for other whales. To do so would be a futile and exhausting endeavor. Instead, the whale does something far more simple and far more powerful. It dives deep, it fills its entire being with the power of the ocean, and then it sings. This whale song is not just a random noise. It is an incredibly complex, deeply personal, and unique vibrational signature. It is the whale's unedited truth broadcasted into the deep. It contains the story of its lineage, its desires, its very essence. The whale does not aim this song at a particular recipient. It does not worry if the fish can understand it or if the sharks will judge it. It simply sings its authentic song into the vastness, trusting the laws of physics and nature to carry it. And then, the miracle of resonance occurs. Miles away, across seemingly impossible distances, other whales, whose inner ears and massive bodies are tuned to that same frequency range, hear the song. They recognize it. It resonates within their own bones. They know with a certainty beyond language that they are not alone, and they orient themselves toward the source of the song. Connection is made, not through a desperate search, but through the courage of authentic expression and the infallible law of resonance. Your life is this ocean. Your authentic self is this whale, and your unique energetic frequency the sum total of your thoughts, your emotions, your passions, and your inner states, your whale song. For too long, you have been told to silence your song, or to change its tune to please the fish, or to mimic the songs of more popular whales. And so you have felt lost and alone in the vast ocean. The journey we have been on is the journey of you reclaiming your true song. What is this song composed of? Let us break it down. The keynote, the fundamental, unwavering tone of your song, is your inherent worthiness. It is the deep, resonant I am that we uncovered when we released the fallacy of needing to earn our value. It is the foundation of your entire broadcast. The melody of your song is composed of your unique passions, your joys, the things that make your soul light up. This is the light we learn to look for in others, but it is born first within you. It is your love for art, for nature, for justice, for your family. This melody is what makes your song beautiful and distinct. The harmony of your song is your dominant emotional state. When you are rooted in gratitude, your song is filled with rich, warm, consonant harmonies that are pleasing to hear. When you are rooted in complaint or resentment, your song is filled with jarring, dissonant chords that make others want to cover their ears. The rhythm of your song is the pace of your inner being. Is it frantic, rushed, and anxious, or is it calm, deliberate, and grounded in the slow, deep beat of your own heart? This rhythm is felt by everyone who enters your field. And finally, the lyrics of your song are your conscious thoughts and beliefs, the seeds you are planting in your inner garden. Are they lyrics of lack and fear, or lyrics of trust and abundance? You are composing this complex song every moment of every day. And the universe is the perfect, resonant chamber that reflects your music back to you. When you broadcast a song of insecure, anxious, people-pleasing, you will attract others who resonate with that frequency, perhaps other insecure people, or those who are drawn to taking advantage of your lack of boundaries. When you have the courage to broadcast your true Sangha song founded on self-worth, flavored with your unique passions, harmonized with gratitude, and paced with calm intention, you begin to attract a different audience entirely. This is the experience of finding your tribe. It is not the relief of no longer being alone. It is the profound joy of true recognition. You will know you have met a member of your tribe by the feeling of effortlessness. The conversation flows. You do not have to weigh your words or put on a performance. You feel a sense of ease, of coming home. There is a strange and wonderful feeling of familiarity, as if you are old friends reconnecting after a long time, even if you have just met. You leave the interaction feeling more energized, more vibrant, and more yourself than you did before. This is the hallmark of a resonant connection. It amplifies your own light. It does not diminish it. Part of this sacred process is learning to accept that your song is not for everyone. The song of the whale is not meant for the squid. The frequency of a soul dedicated to quiet contemplation will not resonate with a soul dedicated to high-octane adventure, and that is perfectly, beautifully okay. Finding your tribe requires you to release the need to be a part of every tribe. The relief in this is immense. You are finally free from the impossible task of being universally palatable. You can now focus your energy on simply making your own song as clear, as true, and as beautiful as it can be, trusting that your listeners are out there and they are listening for you just as you are for them. So trust the process. Trust your song. You have done the work. You have tuned your instrument. Now, simply live. Live your truth, speak your heart, pursue your joy, and hold your peace. Stop striving and start singing. You will be astonished at who begins to sing along. This effortless attraction, this joyful communion with your resonant tribe, is the beautiful result of your inner work. But to maintain the clarity and power of your unique whale song, you cannot broadcast constantly. You must have periods of quiet, of diving deep into the ocean of your own being to replenish your energy. This brings us to the profound and nourishing power of solitude, learning that to be alone is not to be lonely, but to be recharging your light. Having discovered the joy of attracting your tribe through the authentic broadcast of your own energetic song, a new, more subtle understanding begins to dawn. To maintain the power and clarity of that song, you cannot be broadcasting at all times. An instrument that is played constantly will eventually fall out of tune. A singer who never rests will lose their voice. The magnetic, resonant presence you share with the world must be balanced by periods of deep, intentional, and nourishing withdrawal. We must now explore the sacred art of solitude, and in doing so, we must dismantle one of our culture's greatest fears, the fear of being alone. In our hyper-connected world, we have come to see being alone as a kind of social failure, a sign of being unwanted or unloved. We treat silence as an empty space that must be immediately filled with noise, with podcasts, with music, with the endless scroll of digital information. The prospect of spending an evening with no plans and no company can trigger a low-grade panic in many of us. This fear gives rise to a painful state we call loneliness. But we must draw a sharp and crucial distinction, for loneliness and solitude are not the same thing. They are, in fact, polar opposites. Loneliness is an inner state of lack. It is the painful feeling of being disconnected from your own self, which you then project onto the world. It is the ache of the empty half, believing it needs another person to be made whole. Loneliness is a prison whose walls are built from the fear of your own company. You can feel profoundly lonely in the middle of a crowded party or even in a marriage, because loneliness has little to do with physical proximity to others and everything to do with your spiritual proximity to yourself. The frequency of loneliness is needy, anxious, and contractive. It is the shallow, empty well, desperately praying for the rain of external attention. Solitude, on the other hand, is a state of fullness. It is the conscious, loving, and intentional choice to withdraw from the noise of the world in order to commune more deeply with your own soul and with the universe. It is not an escape from others, but a return to yourself. Solitude is a sanctuary that you build for yourself, a sacred space for recharging, recalibrating, and remembering who you are beneath the roles you play. The frequency of solitude is self-contained, peaceful, abundant, and expansive. It is the deep well, ever full from its own inexhaustible inner spring. To become a magnetic being, you must learn to transform the prison of loneliness into the sanctuary of solitude. You must learn to become your own source. Let us explore this metaphor of the well. A person who fears solitude is like a shallow well dug in dry, cracked earth. It has no inner source of water. Its only hope of being filled is to wait for the rain of external validation, the praise of a friend, the attention of a lover, the likes on a social media post. When this social rain is falling, the well feels temporarily full and alive. But when the rain stops, as it inevitably does, the well quickly runs dry. It becomes empty, parched, and desperate. Its entire existence is a cycle of anxiety and temporary relief, wholly dependent on forces outside of itself. The person who embraces solitude, however, has decided they will no longer live at the mercy of the weather. They have made the courageous choice to do the deep inner work of digging their own well. This work is, by its nature, solitary. It is the work of digging past the superficial topsoil of the personality, past the hard rock of conditioned beliefs, past the dense clay of old wounds. It is the patient, sometimes arduous work of digging deeper and deeper into the core of your own being, until you finally break through to the vast, cool, inexhaustible underground spring of universal consciousness. This is the spring of your own true self, your connection to the divine, the source of all peace, wisdom, and love. A well that is fed by this spring is always full. It does not fear drought, for its supply is internal. Because it is always full, it can offer a cool drink to any thirsty traveler without any fear of running dry. In fact, the more it gives, the more the spring naturally replenishes it. Solitude is the sacred and essential act of digging your well deeper. It is the time you dedicate to connecting with your own internal, infinite source. How then do we practice this nourishing solitude? How do we begin to dig? The first step is to reframe your time alone. It is not empty time to be filled with distractions. It is a sacred appointment with the most important person in your life, yourself. Schedule it in your calendar as you would a meeting with a revered teacher. Treat this time as sacrosanct. This is your date with your soul. When your time for solitude arrives, the second step is to create a true container for it by consciously disconnecting from the external world. This is non-negotiable. You cannot hear the subtle whispers of your soul if you are still listening to the roar of the world's opinions. Turn off your phone, close your laptop, shut off the television. Give yourself the gift of a digitally silent space. At first, this silence may feel deafening and uncomfortable. That is the sound of your own nervous system, so accustomed to constant stimulation, beginning to detoxify. Breathe through this discomfort. It will pass. Now, in this silent, sacred space, your only goal is to gently bring your awareness back to yourself. You do not need to do anything profound. The practice is one of simple, sensual, present moment being. You might savor a cup of tea, but instead of drinking it while scrolling, you simply drink the tea. You feel the warmth of the mug in your hands. You watch the steam rise. You inhale its aroma. You feel the warm liquid in your mouth. You have turned a mundane act into a deep, meditative experience. You could listen to a piece of instrumental music, lying on the floor with your eyes closed, allowing the vibrations to wash over you without any other distraction. You could take a silent walk in nature, feeling the sensation of your feet on the earth, the feeling of the wind on your skin, noticing the intricate patterns on a single leaf. Another powerful practice for solitude is creative expression for its own sake. Take out a journal and write, not for an audience, but for your own clarity. Allow your thoughts and feelings to pour onto the page without judgment or censorship. Doodle, draw, paint, or play an instrument, not to create a masterpiece, but for the simple, joyful act of creative flow. This is your soul speaking in a language other than words. Perhaps the most advanced and most nourishing practice of all is the art of simply doing nothing. It is the practice of sitting in a chair, in silence, and just being with yourself. You are not trying to meditate in a formal sense. You are not trying to achieve a state of bliss. You are simply giving yourself permission to exist without task or purpose. Thoughts will arise, feelings will surface: boredom, sadness, joy, restlessness. Your practice is to allow them all to be there, like clouds passing in the sky of your awareness. You are learning that you are the sky, not the clouds. In these moments of pure, unadorned being, you make a profound discovery. You are enough company for yourself. Your own presence is peaceful. Your own silence is rich. You are already whole. As you integrate these practices into your life, your relationship with being alone will fundamentally transform. The fear will dissipate, replaced by a quiet joy. You will begin to crave your periods of solitude, recognizing them as essential for your well-being. This is the time when your energy is replenished, your inner vision becomes clear, and your connection to your deep inner spring is reaffirmed. This deep, inner work you do in the sanctuary of your solitude, the replenishing of your well, the clearing of your energies not just for you. The peace and fullness you cultivate in silence become the new keynote of your energetic song. It radiates outward from you as a silent, powerful force, creating ripples that touch every aspect of your life and every person you meet. This is the very essence of the universal law of cause and effect, the energetic signature we know as karma. The energy you cultivate in the sacred sanctuary of your solitude does not remain there. Like the warmth from a fire or the fragrance from a flower, it radiates outward from you, touching everything and everyone in your life. This radiation is not random or chaotic. It follows a precise, immutable, and perfectly just universal law. This law has been given a name that is often weighted with fear and misunderstanding: karma. We have been taught to think of karma as a cosmic system of crime and punishment, a great, unseen ledger in the sky where a judgmental deity keeps track of our good and bad deeds, dispensing rewards and retribution accordingly. This view turns karma into a source of fear, a doctrine of fatalism that makes us feel like helpless subjects awaiting the verdict of a distant king. Let us now, together, release this primitive and disempowering interpretation and embrace a far more profound and liberating truth. Karma is not a moral law enforced by a god. It is a physical law of the universe, as fundamental and as impersonal as the law of gravity. Karma is the law of energetic cause and effect. It is the universe's perfect and unfailing feedback system. It does not judge, it simply reflects. To understand this, Imagine you are standing alone in the center of a vast, silent canyon. This canyon is your life. The rock walls are the fabric of the universe. You take a deep breath and you shout a single word into the vastness. Anger. What happens next? The canyon walls do not convene a council to decide if your anger was justified. They do not consult a rule book to determine your punishment. They simply, with perfect physical precision, take the sound waves and the energetic frequency of your shout and reflect them back to you. The echo you hear is anger. It is the natural, inescapable consequence of the sound you created. Now, you take another breath, and this time you shout the word peace. With the same impersonal, unwavering neutrality, the canyon walls receive this new frequency and echo it back to you. The sound that fills your ears is peace. This is the law of karma in its elegant simplicity. Life is your valley of echoes. The experiences, the people, and the feelings that are showing up in your life are the echoes of the energetic sounds you have been consistently shouting into the canyon. If your life is filled with echoes of conflict, drama, and betrayal, it is because you have, consciously or unconsciously, been broadcasting the frequency of conflict. If your life is filled with echoes of kindness, synchronicity, and love, it is because you have been broadcasting the frequency of love. The universe does not give you what you want, it gives you what you are. It echoes your song back to you. Let us look at this from the perspective of energy. Every thought you think, every word you speak, and every action you take possesses a unique vibrational signature. A thought of compassion has a smooth, warm, coherent frequency. A thought of jealousy has a sharp, jagged, chaotic frequency. This signature, this energetic fingerprint, is your creative imprint upon the quantum field of the universe. With every passing moment, you are stamping this field with the quality of your own consciousness. The universe, being a responsive, resonant field, naturally organizes itself around the patterns you consistently create. When you consistently broadcast the energetic signature of kindness, you create a powerful, resonant pattern in the field around you. The universe, by its very nature, must then arrange circumstances, people, and events that are a vibrational match to kindness. Kind people are drawn into your orbit. Opportunities to experience and express more kindness appear. This is not a reward, it is physics. You have created a karmic vortex of kindness, and it pulls in energies of a similar frequency. This reveals karma's true purpose. It is not to punish, but to teach. It is the universe's perfect and loving feedback loop, designed to guide you back to your own power. If you keep touching a hot stove and getting burned, the pain is not a punishment. It is immediate, impersonal feedback designed to teach you. This action causes this result. Similarly, if you keep broadcasting a frequency of bitterness and find that your life is filled with bitter experiences, that is not a cosmic punishment. It is loving feedback from the universe, gently saying, "My beloved child, do you see the connection?" The echo you are hearing is coming from your own voice. Perhaps it is time to sing a new note. When we see karma in this light, all fear dissolves and is replaced by a profound sense of self-responsibility and empowerment. We are no longer victims of a capricious fate. We are the creators of the echoes we experience. This understanding calls us to become conscious causes, to take responsibility for the energetic signature we are imprinting on the world in every moment. The great work of karma is not done in grand dramatic gestures. It is woven in the tiny, seemingly insignificant threads of our daily lives. Karma is in the quality of attention you give your child when they interrupt your work. It is in the silent thought you have for the driver who cuts you off in traffic. You send them a curse or a silent wish for their safety. It is in the way you greet the cashier at the grocery store. Do you see them as a human being or as an obstacle in your path? Each of these small moments is a shout into the valley. Each one is a seed planted. Are you planting flowers or are you planting thorns? Crucially, the universe echoes back not just the action, but the intention behind the action. The energy of the cause is what matters. Giving $1,000 to charity to have your name put on a building has the energetic signature of ego and the desire for recognition. The echo that returns will be related to ego. Giving $10 anonymously from a heart overflowing with a genuine desire to alleviate suffering has the energetic signature of pure compassion. The echo that returns will be one of pure compassion. Before you speak, before you act, it becomes a powerful practice to pause and check your own intention. Am I about to do this from a place of fear or from a place of love? Am I acting from a sense of lack or a sense of abundance? Am I serving my ego or am I serving the good of the whole? But what of the past? What of the years we may have spent unconsciously shouting anger and fear into our canyon? The beauty of this law is that you are not condemned to listen to old, painful echoes forever. The way to change the echo is to change the sound you are making right now. The present moment is your point of power. By consistently and intentionally choosing to broadcast a new frequency, one of kindness, presence, compassion, and gratitude, you begin to create a powerful new resonant pattern. This new song, sung with conviction in the present, begins to overpower and dissolve the old dissonant echoes from the past. You do not need to pay for your past mistakes in a punitive sense. Your payment is the dedicated practice of becoming a more loving and conscious being in the here and now. The most effective way to clear old karma is to create beautiful, new karma today. When you truly integrate this understanding, when you see every moment of your life as a sacred opportunity to send a beautiful, coherent echo into the valley, your entire orientation to the world shifts. You stop seeing other people as the source of your happiness or the cause of your misery. You realize that your interactions with them are simply the sacred classroom in which you get to practice your own energetic output. Your difficult boss is not a tormentor, but a master teacher, giving you a chance to practice broadcasting peace in the face of conflict. The person who disappoints you is not a villain, but an opportunity to practice responding with compassion instead of resentment. You no longer feel the desperate need to control them or change them, because you realize that the only thing you can ever truly control is your own broadcast. This realization elevates you into a new role, a new way of being in the world. You cease to be a puppet pulled by the strings of circumstance, and you begin to become a lighthouse. We have come to a turning point on our journey. We have journeyed deep into the earth of our being to find our grounding. We have journeyed high into the sky of our consciousness to understand the nature of our thoughts. We have done the courageous work of healing, of setting boundaries, of cultivating a grateful heart. This has been the necessary, sacred work of doing. But all of this doing has been in service of a final, profound state of being. The time for striving is ending, the time for shining has begun. And this requires a fundamental shift in your identity, in your very role in the world. You must now graduate from the exhausting work of being a tugboat to embrace the serene, powerful destiny of becoming a lighthouse. Let us first honor the tugboat. The tugboat is a powerful, well-intentioned, and noble vessel. Its heart is in the right place. It sees another ship lost in the fog, stalled in the water, or heading for the rocks, and its immediate, compassionate instinct is to help. The tugboat rushes out, churning the water into a frantic foam. It expertly throws a line to the other vessel, a strong rope of advice, of solutions, of emotional support. It attaches itself to the other's burden, and with immense effort and a great straining of its engines, it begins to pull. It drags the other ship away from danger and toward the safety of the harbor. This is what most of us believe it means to help, to love, to be a good person. We see a friend in pain, and we immediately become a tugboat. We rush in with our ropes of advice. We try to take on their emotional weight. We exhaust our own energy supply, trying to pull them out of their storm and into our peace. We tie our own well-being to their successful rescue. But we must look with compassionate honesty at the hidden costs of the tugboat mentality. Firstly, in your frantic effort to save the other ship, you rob it of its own power. You teach it the lesson of dependency. You implicitly communicate, You are too weak or incompetent to navigate your own storm. You need me to save you. This, however well-intentioned, is an act of disempowerment. Secondly, you create a dynamic of codependency. The other ship learns to wait for your tow rope instead of learning to mend its own sails. You, in turn, derive a subtle egoic sense of worth and identity from being the rescuer, the one who is needed. Your value becomes tied to the brokenness of others. Finally, and most critically, the work of the tugboat is utterly exhausting. Constantly pulling the weight of other vessels, battling their inertia and the resistance of the sea, will inevitably lead to your own burnout. Your engines will fail, your fuel will run dry, and your ropes will fray and snap. You cannot save anyone if you yourself have sunk. The journey we have undertaken together has been preparing you for a different role. You have done the deep, inner work, and you are no longer a small, frantic vessel. You have become a lighthouse. Imagine the lighthouse. It does not rush about the harbor. It does not chase after ships. It does not concern itself with the destination or the seaworthiness of any particular vessel. The lighthouse has only one single sacred purpose: to be and to shine. Its power is not in its movement, but in its unwavering stillness. Its function is not to pull, but to illuminate. Let us examine the anatomy of this magnificent structure, for you have built it piece by piece within yourself. The foundation of the lighthouse is built upon solid, unshakable rock. This rock is the truth of your inherent worthiness, the deep knowing that your value is not contingent on anything external. It is your groundedness in your own body, your felt sense of belonging to the earth. It is the solid perimeter of your sacred boundaries, which protect you from the crashing waves of other people's dramas. The storms will come, the waves will crash, but you, on your rock, will not be moved. The tower of the lighthouse, reaching from the rock to the sky, is your integrity. It is the strong, stable structure you have built by aligning your inner world with your outer actions. It is the result of living in harmony with the law of karma, of understanding that your life is a reflection of your own broadcast. The tower is straight and true because you are no longer divided against yourself. You are whole. At the very top of the tower is the light source, the great lamp. This is the furnace of your own heart, kindled and kept bright by the practice of radical gratitude. It is the luminous essence of your soul, nourished and replenished in the sanctuary of your solitude. It is the authentic, powerful, inner light that is your true nature. It is the sun that was always there, now unobscured by the clouds of fear and doubt. But this raw, powerful light needs to be focused to be useful. Surrounding the lamp is the intricate and beautiful lens. This is the masterful work of your focused consciousness. It is the soft, accepting gaze that sees the soul in another. It is the resonant, centered voice that speaks with calm authority. It is the unconditional presence that can hold a safe space for another's truth. The lens takes the infinite, raw light of your spirit and focuses it into a clear, coherent, powerful beam that can cut through the thickest fog. And what is the work of this lighthouse? Its work is simply to shine. It shines its light consistently, rhythmically, through the day and through the night. It does not decide which ships are worthy of its light. It shines for the magnificent ocean liner and the humble fishing boat alike. It does not grow angry if a ship chooses to ignore its beam and steer toward the rocks. It does not feel pride when a ship uses its light to find safe passage. It has released all attachment to the outcome. Its job is not to control the ships. Its job is to be a reliable source of truth, a fixed point of light in the darkness, so that the captains of all other vessels can make their own empowered choices. Its power is in its constancy, its neutrality, and its profound trust in the journey of others. To live as a lighthouse is to fundamentally change how you interact with the suffering of the world. When a friend comes to you, their life a raging storm of chaos and pain, the old tugboat instinct is to jump into the stormy water with them, to get tossed about by their waves, to try and fix their ship for them. The lighthouse stands firm on its rock. It does not enter their storm, it holds its own peace. It turns its focused, steady beam of light, the light of its calm, non-judgmental, loving presence upon them. It does not offer solutions, it offers illumination. In the clarity of your steady light, they can begin to see their own situation more clearly. They can distinguish the real rocks from the phantom fears. They can find the handle of their own ship's rudder. You do not save them. You provide the light in which they can save themselves. You honor the captain within them. At times, people will still want you to be a tugboat. They will flash their lights at you, begging you to come and pull them. They will try to throw you their ropes of guilt and obligation. The practice of the lighthouse is to lovingly refuse the rope. You continue to shine your light on them, sending them love, sending them strength, but you do not attach their vessel to yours. You do not take on their karma, their lessons, their journey. This requires immense trust in the path of the other soul, a trust that they have within them everything they need to navigate their own storm. The freedom in this way of being is immeasurable. You are finally released from the exhausting, impossible burden of being the savior, the fixer, the therapist for everyone in your life. Your sole responsibility is to tend to your own light, to keep your foundation strong, to keep your tower aligned, to keep your lamp fueled with gratitude, and to keep your lens clean and focused. As you stand in your power, shining your unique light into the world, you begin to notice something beautiful on the horizon. Across the dark waters, another light begins to pulse, and then another. You realize you are not the only lighthouse. The world is full of souls who are tired of being frantic tugboats and are choosing to do the inner work of building their own towers of light. Your presence inspires them, just as their presence inspires you. The coastline of humanity, once dark and chaotic, slowly, surely, begins to be illuminated by a magnificent network of sovereign, powerful, and peaceful lights. The frantic noise of churning water subsides, replaced by a deep and resonant calm. As you stand here rooted on your rock, shining your unique and steady light into the world, you become aware of one final, breathtaking truth. You see your light mingling with the light of the other lighthouses, and you see it illuminating the vast, mysterious ocean itself. In this moment of pure seeing, you realize that the rock, the light, and the ocean are not separate things. You realize that you and the other are not separate. You realize that you and the world are not separate. This realization is the great return. The moment you understand that you are the universe experiencing connection. As you stand on the firm rock of your own being, a lighthouse of steady and benevolent presence, your light joins a magnificent constellation. You see the lights of other souls, other lighthouses, pulsing with their own unique color and rhythm across the vast coastline of humanity. In this state of expanded awareness, a final, ultimate question begins to surface from the depths of your soul. It is the question that lies behind all other questions. What is this light that I am shining? What is this great ocean my light illuminates? And what is this profound, unquenchable desire for connection that has propelled me on this entire journey? The answer to these questions is the final destination. It is the great return to a truth so simple and so vast that we have spent our entire lives overlooking it. The truth is that the separation you have felt between yourself and the world, between I and other, is a sacred and beautiful illusion. And the desire you have to connect is nothing less than the universe's desire to know itself through you. To grasp this, let us use one final metaphor. Imagine the whole of existence, all of consciousness, God, the source. Whatever name you are comfortable, with us a single, boundless, and eternal ocean. This ocean is all that is. There is nothing outside of it. It is pure awareness, pure potential, perfectly whole, and at peace with itself. Now, this ocean, in its infinite creativity and playfulness, loves to experience itself. And so, from its own substance, it expresses itself as countless individual waves. Each wave rises from the unity of the ocean, takes on a unique form, a unique character, a unique trajectory. It has a life. It travels a certain distance. It crests in its own beautiful way, and eventually, it dissolves back into the wholeness of the ocean from which it was never, for a single moment, truly separate. Now, imagine the experience from the perspective of a single wave. A wave, in the midst of its journey, might look out and see millions of other waves, all seemingly separate. It might believe itself to be a lonely, fragile entity, a small body of water defined by its temporary form. It might develop a wave ego. It might compare itself to other waves, feeling proud if it is large and powerful, or ashamed if it is small and weak. It might fear the other waves, seeing them as competition or as threats. It might become terrified of its own inevitable end, when it will crash upon the shore and cease to be a wave. This is the human condition. This is the illusion of the separate self. But what is the deeper truth? The deeper truth is that the wave is, and always has been, the ocean. The water that constitutes the wave is the very same water that constitutes the entire ocean. Its form is temporary, but its essence is eternal and boundless. Its separateness is an illusion created by a limited perspective, and its death is not an end, but a joyful release, a return to the magnificent, unbounded wholeness of its true nature. You are not a drop in the ocean. You are the entire ocean, expressing itself for a time as a single precious drop. You are a wave. And every other person you meet is also a wave, born of the same water, part of the same great, unified body of consciousness. With this understanding, the desire for connection is completely reframed. That deep ache you have felt, the longing to be seen, to be understood, to merge with another, that is not just your personal, psychological neediness. It is the ocean's memory within the wave. It is the universe's own innate desire to experience itself in relationship. When one wave, you lovingly and consciously meets another wave, another person, it is a sacred moment. It is the ocean looking at itself. It is the universe witnessing its own beauty and diversity through two different sets of eyes. It is God meeting God. Every moment of true, authentic connection is a homecoming for the cosmos. And what, then, is social magnetism at this ultimate level? It is not the art of a wave learning clever tricks to make other waves like it. It is not about becoming the biggest, most impressive, or most perfect wave. The most magnetic presence of all belongs to the wave that has remembered it is the ocean. A wave that knows its own ocean nature moves differently. It no longer fears the other waves, so it does not need to be defensive or competitive. It no longer compares itself, so it is free from both arrogance and insecurity. It is no longer afraid of its own dissolution, its own end, so it moves with a deep, calm, fearless grace. It draws its power not from its own temporary form, but from the infinite depth of the ocean beneath it. Other waves, still lost in the illusion of their lonely separateness, feel this. They are inexplicably drawn to the peace, the power, the quiet wisdom of this wave. They sense that it is connected to the source. They feel safer in its presence because its energy reminds them of their own true oceanic home. You become magnetic not by perfecting your wave, but by remembering your ocean. This ultimate realization changes everything. Every interaction becomes an opportunity for the divine to play with itself. That stranger you pass on the street is not a stranger. They are the universe in a different costume. The person who challenges you is not an enemy. They are the universe offering you a lesson. The person you love is not another who completes you. They are the universe showing you a beautiful reflection of your own capacity for love. Judgment dissolves, for how can the ocean judge itself? Comparison becomes meaningless, for how can one expression of water be inherently better than another? The frantic need to be liked vanishes, replaced by a simple, joyful desire to share your presence. The work of self-improvement is over. Now, there is only the play of consciousness, the sacred dance of waves, meeting, merging, and returning to the One. This is the great return. It is the realization that your entire journey outward to find love, to find acceptance, to find connection was always, in truth, a journey inward. It was a journey to the center of your own being, where you discover that everything you were ever seeking, you already are. You were seeking connection, only to find that you are connection itself, a temporary expression of an eternal, unbreakable unity. You were seeking to become a beautiful lighthouse, only to realize you are not just the lighthouse, but the rock it stands on and the infinite ocean it serves. And so, you see, the ultimate secret to becoming socially magnetic was never about becoming anything at all. It was never about adding a single thing to who you are. The entire journey was one of shedding, of remembering, of returning to the magnificent truth that you are, and have always been, connection itself. And so, we arrive at the end of our journey together, which is, in truth, the beginning of your own. We began in a place of noise, standing on the shore of the mind, a lake made turbulent and murky by the winds of fear and the sediment of self-doubt. The work was not to fight the waves or to frantically scoop out the muddy water. The work was simply to be still and to allow the sacred sediment of all that you are not, the conditioning, the fears, the borrowed beliefs, to gently, patiently, settle back into the depths. Now, look at the lake of your being. The water is clear. The surface is like glass, and it is so still that it can perfectly reflect the truth of what is above. It no longer reflects the storm clouds of a frantic ego, but the vast, silent, star-filled sky of the universe. You have remembered that your inner world is not meant to be a place of turmoil, but a perfect mirror for the peace and majesty of the cosmos. From this stillness, your magnetism is no longer something you must seek or build. It is a natural quality of your clarity. You no longer need to be the hunter, chasing the butterfly of another's approval. You have become the flower, rooted in your own worth, and you trust that connection will come to you. You no longer need to be the exhausted tugboat, pulling the weight of the world. You have become the lighthouse, standing in your own power, and your light is a sufficient gift. Carry these words with you, not as an affirmation to be repeated, but as a simple description of what is now true. My presence is my power. My stillness is my invitation. My authenticity is my connection. There is nothing more to learn, nothing more to do, nothing more to become. The entire journey was one of shedding, of unbecoming, of returning to the magnificent, unwavering truth that was here before the first wave of doubt ever rippled across your mind. The final, gentle instruction is simply this: you do not need to seek connection. You are connection. Now, simply be.